Mr. Andile, did you want to say something? Okay, Mr. O'Sullivan, do you have anything to say in 5 minutes before we proceed?
I have nothing to say, Chairman. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Yes, we read apologies when we read apologies when you had other commitments, and one request that we made was that instead of you coming immediately after the Chief Whip, we request that you come after Honorable Cameron because he has to leave.
No, it's fine.
Yes.
I just wanted to check if the witness has the hearing. Oh, yeah, the hearing aid at least, you know. Thank you, Chair.
Yeah. And the last thing to do before Chief Whip is just to remind you, our witness, Mr. Robert Paul O'Sullivan, that you are still under oath. Thank you so much. Chief Whip, good luck.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Good morning to you. Good morning to all honorable members. Good morning, Mr. O'Sullivan. I'm here. Thank you very much. I think firstly, let's appreciate the fact that we have succeeded to come back. And it seems to me that you are much more better than you were at the time. And we wish you a speedy recovery to fully recover from the sickness. Now, Mr. Sullivan, I want to start off by the question about...
I'm sorry, Chief.
Sorry.
Just before you proceed, Chief, Honorable Malum.
I just want to check, Chair. There are two documents which have been discovered. One from AXA and one from Home Affairs. Have those documents properly been processed, because some of the questions are going to be based on those documents?
Yeah. Yes, the document from AXA is a document that the witness knows, because when we left last week, we agreed that we, in his presence, that we are going to request that advert. And the document from Home Affairs has been submitted to the legal team. What we should do is to allow the 3 members to conclude. Then the members, before we check with yourselves, if there is anyone who wants to ask questions. If it requires that we take a 5 or 10 minutes break for the legal team to run that past the witness, they will do so. But be assured that any matter that members may want to raise pertaining to those documents, an avenue will be created for them to be in a position to raise those questions in a way that does not infringe on the rights of the witness, but also in a way that does not impact negatively on the work that members must do. Yeah. Did you want to say something on that, Advocate Mkiza? Yes.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I can confirm that the witness has all the documents, the Home Affairs letter, the AXA report, as well as the letter from the NDPP. It was circulated to him last week.
Okay. Thank you so much. Yes, Chief Whip.
No, thank you very much, Chairperson. I want us to go back to your statement, Mr. O'Sullivan, just as part of beginning the interaction between the two of us and, of course, with the committee. On paragraph 32 of your statement, you made references to the fact that Mr. Jackie Sleby used his influence as a member of the ANC to lobby for the airports to fall under the police in terms of them being controlled as national key points. And you said that in that statement, Silebi chose to use his role as the National Commissioner and the African National Congress NEC member to lobby for the National Key Points Act to be amended so that the control of security at the national key points would fall under the police. How did you get to know that? That he used the fact that he was a national commissioner and that he was a member of the NEC of the ANC, but also what was wrong with an approach whereby the police will have a significant role on the airports as national key points? What was strange about that? And how did you know that he used that influence of being a member of the NEC of the ANC?
Thank you. Thank you. If I could just get that paragraph number again, please.
It's paragraph 32. I can read it for you. Silebi chose to use his
No,
role.
It's okay, I can read it.
You can read it, okay.
I just needed to get the paragraph number. Okay. So, Chairman, at the time when this took place, which is now 25 years ago, the late Jackie Silebi was not only the Commissioner of Police, he was a member of the NEC of the ANC in breach of the Police Service Act, because the Police Service Act made it clear. That was the 1996 Police Service Act, which was amended following the version 2, if you like, of the Constitution, which is the current Constitution that we have today. Made it clear that no serving member of the police may be active in any political party. It doesn't prevent a member of the police from being a member of a political party, but the Act makes it clear that a person may not be engaged in political activities within any political party. And I think that's a safeguarding that was put in as a result of political involvement in the police during apartheid. So what happened, Chairman, is that after I cancelled the contract with Kusalani Security, I was informed, I think 2 days later, that the Commissioner of Police wanted an urgent meeting with me. And we attended to that meeting at the VIP lounge at the then Johannesburg International Airport, which is now OR Tambo International Airport. And when I attended to that meeting, instead of Jackie Silebi turning up for the meeting, his 2IC, which was a Deputy National Commissioner of Police, Lieutenant General, in fact, they didn't have that rank then, they had another rank, which was Deputy Commissioner of Police. They changed the ranks later. And Andre Price turned up in place of Jackie Silebi. And when I asked, well, where's Jackie Silebi? I was informed, now we'd cancelled the contract in October, and I think this meeting took place on the 2nd of November, 2001. And when I asked, where is Jackie Silebi, because he called the meeting, I was informed that he's in a meeting with the CEO of AXA. So there were two meetings going on at the same time in parallel. And I said, oh, but so what is the purpose of the meeting if Jackie Silebi is not coming here? And Andre Price informed me that he will be here shortly, but you know he's a member of the NEC, of the ANC. I said, no, I didn't know that. He said, well, he is a member of the NEC of the ANC. And he is now going to propose to change the National Key Points Act with a view to removing the responsibility, the reporting line for the National Key Points Act from the South African National Defence Force to the South African Police Service. And I said, oh, why is that? He said, because he believes that the national key points should come under the police and not the army. So my view on that was quite simple. I have no political view on it. And if I can answer the second part of the question, which is, do I believe that national key points should be under the army or the police? To be frank with you, I don't think it matters, as long as there's some sort of security cluster member that's having a tight control over national key points, because apart from airports, we're talking about power stations, including nuclear power stations and nuclear research facilities. And it's important that those facilities are properly treated as national key points. So it didn't really bother me at all. But if you look at the context of my statement, this was not supposed to be a slight or a criticism of the ANC. It's supposed to be a criticism of Jackie Selebi, because Jackie Selebi was now abusing his position on the NEC to switch authority from military to police. And by that stage, Jackie Selebi had been almost 2 years the Commissioner of Police, and there had been no moves
Chair, sorry,
before
Chair.
that.
Sorry, Mr. O'Sullivan. I thought you were about to finish because I wanted to say to the chairperson, I'm worried that the prolonged answers are eating on my time. So as much as we need information, but I would like to request that you, maybe at the moment you pause at that point with the answer you are providing.
And thank you. I'm prepared to finish there, but it's also important to remember, Chairman, and I'll say this very briefly, that we are listening to evidence, and if I'm asked a question, I should be allowed to answer the question. I'll do it as factually and as properly as I can, and I'll do it as quickly as I can. But
Yeah,
it's important to get the facts out.
No, I respect that, Mr. O'Sullivan, but I also would like you to respect the fact that we don't have the whole day, at least me and you, let alone my other colleagues, so that we manage this well. And then on paragraph 37 of your affidavit, you made reference to what you call the Mbeki-Pinar plot, or Mbeki-Pinar plot in relation to the ANC Polokwane conference, and that Silebi was working with Mbeki to get Zuma arrested, and the plot did not materialize because of what happened in Polokwane. Can you briefly say something about that, just for us to understand what you mean?
I think, Chairman, I did explain this before, because the question was asked before. And we had this situation where Richard Ndluli, who at the time was the crime intelligence head for Gauteng, acting on the instructions of the then head of crime intelligence, had tapped the phones of Leonard McCarthy. And by tapping the phones of Leonard McCarthy, they had uncovered what they later referred to as the spy tapes. And I got a copy of the spy tapes from one of the journalists that published a big story about the spy tapes. And the spy tapes were used later to ensure that the criminal charges against Jacob Zuma were dropped. But prior to that, what came out in the spy tapes was the conversations between Leonard McCarthy and Andre Pienaar, a sort of ex-boss agent who is now living in London. I believe he's now living in the States, but at that time he was living in London. And he was having these conversations with Leonard McCarthy and also with what he referred to as number one, which was Thabo Mbeki. And he was acting as a middleman and passing instructions to Leonard McCarthy about how important it was to arrest Jacob Zuma before the Polokwane conference. And he also made it clear that it was important to make sure that Jackie Celebi was not arrested and not charged. And at the time, I was quite antagonistic towards Jackie Celebi. And on those spy tapes, and anybody can go and look at them because they're online, on those spy tapes, it makes it clear that Andre Pienaar said they were going to bring somebody in from outside to deal decisively with the O'Sullivan factor.
I'm glad you are talking to that, because I took time as well to go and do some research about what exactly is contained on the spy tapes. And in my own information that I discovered following your interaction with the committee last time, is that in actually the facts in terms of what is contained on the aspect of the conversation between Leonard McCarthy and Andre Pienaar, there are no specific references to the fact that the then President Mbeki issued an instruction that there must be actions taken against, or that Celebi must act to ensure that the then Deputy President Zuma is arrested. Now, I wanted to understand, because when you made reference to this point last time, you refer to it as per what was reported by the media or in the media or journalists. Have you had access to the actual spy tape report? Because the spy tape report, the exchange between the two do not have that information.
Chairman, in fact, the spy tapes themselves, they're transcriptions. So I don't have the tapes themselves, but I have the transcriptions. I don't have them with me now. I had to limit my submission. In fact, I managed to get it down to, I think, 1,200 pages. If I had to add all these other peripheral things in, we would have been looking at 3,000, 4,000 pages. But the reality of it is that they use code words. They don't mention Thabo Mbeki. They don't mention President. They don't mention Jackie Celebi. They don't mention Jacob Zuma. They use code words, and the code words, if I can recall correctly, were Oyan, Obut, number one. These were the code words they used. So there was no specific instruction, by the way, President Thabo Mbeki said the following must happen. I think he was referred to in the spy tapes as number one. And then they had reference to Jacob Zuma, which was either Obut or Oyan, and the other person, which with either Obut or Oyan, was Jackie Celebi. And that interpretation on the spy tapes played out by interpretation by the media, who had contacted Andre Pienaar, and then he clammed up after he explained what was going on.
I want to suggest, Mr. Sullivan, that if it is possible, even beyond our interaction today, that you favor us, the information I have, I'm saying the information I have, which is as a result of my following up on the matter, is that the spy tape reports, not what is reported about it, many of which was distorted in public at the time. The actual spy tape, the exchange between the two men, makes no references to President Mbeki directing Celebi to act in a certain way against the then Deputy President Zuma. So I'm going to request that beyond today, if it is possible, you make that information available to us, because from what I have had an opportunity to access, following what you said in the ad hoc committee, I couldn't find that information, that evidence. So I'm going to request that maybe we don't debate it, but you help us with whatever information you have in this regard. I'll tell you why it's important. It's because you are advancing this argument in the affidavit before us in the context of the manifestation of political interference in the work of the police, and to some extent, the manipulation of a state institution to advance personal interest. Because the actions that we are attributing to President Mbeki against Deputy President Zuma at the time would be seen, at least by some of us, as a personal actions intended to advance a particular cause on the part of one against the other. So that's why, for me, it's important that to the extent that you can, you give us that information as evidence, not what was reported about by other people. I thought if you have the main source, because from what I was exposed to, that interaction or that exchange has never occurred between the two.
Chairman, we're talking about tapes that were produced in 2006 or 2007. I can't remember the year, so we're talking about almost 20 years ago. I will have to go back and look at them, but remember the purpose of my affidavit, Chairman, was not to specifically highlight any single one issue. It was to deal with the title of this committee, which is an ad hoc committee inquiry established to investigate wide-ranging allegations on security matters, blah, blah, blah. And the reality of it is that the allegations were made of political interference in the criminal justice system. And I didn't just leave it with the spy tapes. I then went on later in my affidavit to deal with the appointment of General Pashlani and the appointment of Sean Abrahams and the appointment of Burning and Clemeza. So it wasn't just that little bun fight that took place before Polokwane, but subsequently to that, we had more political interference, and that was my evidence that the more political interference was coming from Jacob Zuma's side.
Okay, thank you very much. The other question related to that issue of interference, you might have said something about it, and if you did, also I ask you to be very brief at the moment. Relates to your paragraph 42, where just the first line there would be enough for you to help to answer the question. The first sentence: to stop me from exposing corruption, certain politicians, including but not limited to President Zuma. I want to stop there. Do you recall who are the other politicians who intervened to stop you from exposing corruption, working in partnership with President Zuma? Who were those?
Chairman, the then Minister of Police, the then Minister of Intelligence, I think his name was at that time David Mshlobo. We knew about all of this because after the attacks on me started, by 2016 or 2017, I'd been arrested unlawfully several times. And this led to a so-called off-the-record meeting between my legal team and people representing Jacob Zuma and David Mshlobo and the Commissioner of Police, which was Pashlani, General Pashlani, and the head of DPCI, which was at the time General Clemeza. And what they had done, there was an involvement by the NDPP as well, through a prosecutor, a deputy director by the name of Malochwa, JJ Malochwa. And what they wanted me to do was to surrender my South African citizenship, and they would take me in a blue light convoy to OR Tambo Airport, announce to the media that I was leaving the country and that I apologized for being a spy, which of course was absolute rubbish, and I wasn't prepared to go along with it. But that meeting took place, and that meeting made it very clear that there was overreach from Parliament into the criminal justice system, and that's what I was meaning to say there in this paragraph 42.
Okay, no, I got it. Maybe let's take further that discussion about you being suspected to be a spy. If you remember when we adjourned last time, I had asked you a question about, in your own knowledge and experience, do spies declare themselves? Can somebody walk in here and say, I'm a spy? If I remember very well, you part of your answer was that, no, they won't declare themselves.
Well, I think
Because if they do so, it defeats the purpose, am I right?
I didn't see what happened yesterday, but I understand Mr. Makotsi walked in and volunteered that he was a spy. I don't know. I just saw it in the media. But the reality is that if I was a spy, and I pointed this out several times, if I was a spy, I haven't done a very good job of keeping a low profile. And this is very important, Chairman, because it seemed to be the nexus of the allegations which led to me having to be at this committee, is that we had General Pashlani, General Mkonazi, Cedric Nkabindi, all of them coming with this narrative that I was a foreign agent, a false narrative and a dishonest narrative. And the reality of the situation is that the first time this narrative popped out of the woodwork was in 2007, when Jackie Salebi had a meeting with then President Mbeki. And President Mbeki then had a meeting with the religious leaders in South Africa. And during that meeting, the religious leaders put to Thabo Mbeki that there were allegations that the police commissioner was corrupt. And Thabo Mbeki told these religious leaders, you have to trust your president. Who are you going to trust? Your president or a foreign spy? And then we had Jackie Salebi telling a media conference on the 5th of November. I thought it was unique because 5th of November just happens to be Guy Fawkes Day. And on the 5th of November 2007, he called a media briefing and told the media that I was a foreign spy. So that was like 20 years ago. And the next time the allegation came up was in 2016, and we had General Pashlani having media conferences and telling the media that I was a foreign spy. And the next time it pops up is 10 years later. So it's like every 10 years this is going to come up. Probably in 10 years' time, when I'm 80, I'll still be a foreign spy. But the reality is I have never been a foreign spy.
Okay.
And I took, let me finish, please. I took the oath of allegiance to South Africa when I became a citizen in 1995. And that oath of allegiance is based on the new, actually it was based on the Act 200.
No, thanks, Mr. Sullivan. So, thanks, and my apology for disrupting you. I have a few questions to conclude with you, otherwise I won't make my time. But this question about, well, let me not be specific about the people who are accusing you of being a foreign spy, whatever the motives or the information at their disposal. But the question that arises, I'm not accusing you to be a foreign spy, but the question that arises, which I would like you to comment on, I tried to engage you with this question last time and we couldn't finish it, is the fact that in your early stages of your life, you were part of a UK military intelligence. And then you came to South Africa. You know the UK position towards South Africa at that time. Even at the time when you decide to come to South Africa, you are coming to South Africa fully understanding the relationship and the position between the UK and South Africa at the time. So the question is that obviously, whatever you explain motivated you to come to South Africa, but in reality, is that you were not a person that, as you say, you started being, after you settled down, a man that fight for injustice or fights for justice, fighting against injustice. So the question would naturally arise because you come to a country, majority of the people are oppressed, and at the time of your arrival, the intensification of the fight between the regime and the majority in this country is at the highest level. I mean, between 1980 and 1989 is at the highest level. And here walks in somebody like you, a former intelligence operative of another country, whose relationship with South Africa, as I referred to earlier on, and then come and settle down in South Africa. So I think it's inevitable that people would be interested on what is it that would have motivated you more than what you are explaining or what you are willing to explain when you are engaged on the matter. Do you think that is unreasonable for some people to make a conclusion like that?
Yes, Chairman, I think it's unreasonable. The people
That was your last question, Chief.
people that come with these conclusions do so for criminal purposes. And all the allegations that have been fired at me have come via criminals. So you've got this criminal underworld that create this narrative and try and run with it and try to poison the well, try to shoot the messenger instead of the message that's coming across. The reality is I've spent 36 years of my life fighting crime in this country, not infiltrating this organization or that organization. I spent 36 years of my life fighting crime. Nobody paid me. I've done it because I wanted to make South Africa a better country for all, and my record will show that.
Thank you so much, Honorable Cameron. Your time starts now.
Thank you, Chair.
It expires at 11:15.
Thank you, Chair. I'm going to try and finish before my time is finished. Good morning, Mr. Sullivan.
Morning.
Thank you for joining us again. I'm not going to repeat everything that was said before. I want to refer back to your relationship with Mr. Zunade Moti. I want to understand, you previously described yourself in the media as Mr. Moti's friend, or business associate and consultant. But in 2012, and I know you have explained some of it, but just for the record, in 2012 you called him the head of a private army of thugs and accused him of conspiracy to commit murder. When did you stop investigating Mr. Moti and start getting paid by him?
First of all, it's not a case of getting paid by him because that's now following another narrative. But I've got to.
Apologies. No, let me say it right. I don't want to create a misperception. We started doing business or working for him.
So, I've got a timeline here. So, a criminal case was opened against various parties, one of which was Zunade Moti in 2011. And we, that's my forensic practice, we were hired by a chap by the name of Naim Kassim. In those days, my practice was called Paul O'Sullivan Associates. It's now called O'Sullivan Brosnan and Associates. And between late 2011 and you can say probably mid or early 2013, I was under the impression that Moti and some of his associates had a case to answer in respect of a case of attempted murder where a Mercedes motor vehicle with Naim Kassim in it had left, what do you call it where they gamble, a casino on the West Rand, and on his way home to Harderbeespoort, he was ambushed. And we followed up on that ambush, and we were able to draw a link between certain individuals that were involved in the ambush and Mr. Zunade Moti. So a docket was opened, and as a result of that docket, a number of people were arrested, one of which included Zunade Moti. And then what happened in August 2013, the state, and I've got the name down here, in fact we know her today as Advocate Andrea Johnson. At that time she was Deputy Director or in the office of North Gauteng. I think she reported under the Director of Prosecutions in North Gauteng. She made a decision not to proceed against Moti. And she did that, and there was a kind of a 2-year period there, She did that after his lawyers made representations, and I was then supplied, because we were lobbying for all of them to be prosecuted, and I was then supplied with a copy of that representation. And when I saw the representation, it made common sense, because it just happened that he was in the wrong place at the wrong time, and I'm not defending him on that. But then what happened in 2014, which is the next year, I terminated the relationship with Naeem Kassim. And the reason there were two reasons I terminated the relationship. The first reason, he hadn't paid his fees. He told me he was short of cash, and he gave me an envelope full of post-dated checks. And when we started putting the post-dated checks through the bank, they all bounced. So I then went to him and I said, listen, your checks are bouncing. And then what we found out was he had been committing the offense of extortion. He had tried to manipulate a settlement, a civil settlement, on the alleged criminal charges against Zunade Moti, and the amount he wanted was 100 million rand to make the case go away. So I said, we're not prepared to be involved in anything of that nature, and your checks are bouncing. So I then issued a summons against him, and I terminated the mandate. And as a result of issuing that summons, I got judgment. And the judgment was taken on the 5th of February 2015 against Naeem Kassim in the amount of 1,543,505 rand and 7 cents of unpaid fees based on the bounced checks, plus interest and legal costs. So we have that judgment. I can show it to you. So that was kind of the end of all that. And then what happened, I didn't go knocking on the door of Moti and said, now I'm going to be your friend. I had invested in a company called Old Fashioned Fish and Chips. And I had lent that company, I can't remember the exact figure, so don't get me perjurious for remembering, it's a long time ago, but I had lent that company approximately 6 million rand. And in the return for the loan of 6 million rand, I took security. And the security I took for the loan was an amount of, the security I took for the loan was the shares in the company, all of the shares with signed blank dated share transfer forms. So now they had, I think, 6 months to repay me this money. And if they didn't repay me, I could then sell the company. And as it got towards the end of that 6 million rand loan, I think they still owed me they had made some repayments, but they still owed me 4 million. And they asked me to release the shares. And I said, no, I'm not going to, because that's my only security. And I went and dealt with a company, I can't remember the name, it's a public company, and I offered to sell them Old Fashioned Fish and Chips. And the price we were closing in on was about 15 million rand. Now, I didn't want to make a profit out of the loan, so my arrangement, and I put it to the owner of Old Fashioned Fish and Chips, you owe me 4 million, I'm going to sell your shares in 3 weeks' time for 15 million, and I'll refund you the difference that you owe me, because I don't want to make a profit. I just want what we were going to do. Then that lady, elderly Portuguese lady, she then said, leave it to me, I'll be back in a week with the funds. And a week later, I got an unsolicited phone call from Zunade Moti. And he said, Paul, I don't know if you want to talk to me or not, because we had some strange moments. And this was now in 2014. And I said, what's the issue? He said, the issue is this. I've been offered to buy your loan in Old Fashioned Fish and Chips. And he said, I understand that you've got another buyer lined up and you can sell it and make a big profit. I said, I'm not interested in making a profit. I made a loan, I just want my money back. So he then said to me, would you have any objection if I go and I pay them the money to buy those shares or to lend them money, it won't just be your 4 million, I'll lend them more and I'll take security of the same shares. I said, I have no objection as long as I get my 4 million. And then what happened was the lady phoned me and she said, we've decided to sell to Zunade Moti, he's going to pay us the money. So I phoned him and I said, listen here, my advice to you is not to pay them the money because if they don't pay it to me, I'm not releasing the shares. So he then got some attorney involved and the attorney held the money and then I got my 4 million, I handed over the shares and that was the deal done with him. So I then, at that moment in time, met with him and then I explained to him how I had fired Naeem Kassim, and that the reason I'd fired him wasn't just over the bounce checks, that he owed me 1.5 million or 1.6 million because there were costs involved. And I said, but he also tried to extort you. He said, yes, I know, he wanted 100 million. So I then said, you know, that's really bad. You shouldn't be doing that. So after that, Zunade Moti has, I believe, plus minus 250 companies, and they're involved in very diverse areas: logistics, shipping, import, export, mining, transport, aviation, all sorts of things. And he then said to me, I'm quite impressed with your level of ethics, that you didn't want to profit on this fish and chips deal. I said, from time to time, we have forensic work that needs to be carried out. Would you be prepared to render those services for one or other of the companies? And I said, well, I have no objection. And at that point in time, we did what we always do, which is a due diligence, which includes getting the criminal record checks that we do because we don't act for criminals. So he had a clear criminal record. We got the, what do you call it? Police clearance certificate. I asked him for a police clearance certificate, which he gave us. So I was satisfied that we could do business with him. And I think between the period of 2015 and now, we have carried out investigations for various of his companies. And not only that, in 2015, I think it was, or 2016, or maybe 2017, 1 year there, I identified a property opportunity and I didn't have enough cash. I said, listen, I've got a deal here. I can buy 10 properties for whatever million of rand. And I said, it's a deceased estate. I've met with the executor. He'll take an offer of that amount. And I don't have enough cash. If you want to come in on that deal, you can, and we'll split the profit down the middle. And that's exactly what happened. So I then got involved in a property transaction with him as well.
Okay, but thank you. So we have that for the record then. I want to move to the relationship, or whether you know anything about the relationship between General Shadrach Sibia and General Feroz Khan. And if you don't, it's fine. Again, it's to determine if there is a significant relationship.
Well, I'm bound under oath, and I'm going to tell the truth. So the truth is, as I mentioned in the last, I don't know if you call it a meeting. I suppose you call it a meeting, but in the last session, I mentioned that I have a relationship with Shadrach Sibia, and it's purely a professional relationship. I mentioned that I don't even know where he lives. I've never had a restaurant meal with him. He did attend, while he was working at Joburg City Council, he did attend a braai, a Christmas braai. Feroz Khan, I know of. I've had several meetings with him. I'm not sure what he does now because I haven't seen him for a while, but at one stage he was involved in crime intelligence in Gauteng. And it appeared to me at one stage, and I didn't get this from the horse's mouth, so neither of them said anything negative about the other to me, but it appeared to me at one stage that there was some kind of a fallout or toxicity between them, but it's only from what I read in the media.
And then, were you at any stage introduced to a Mr. Rashad Ismail by either Mr. Moti, General Sabia, or General Khan, or a combination of the likes?
I don't know who Rashad Ismail is.
Okay.
Is it, if you, I meet a lot of people, if you can tell me what this profession is or what he does?
I'll come back to it now.
Okay.
Just for the sake of time, I want to ask you a little bit more about your comment on General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi after the press conference. And then after that, I want to ask you one or two policy-related questions. In terms of General Mkhwanazi, you, as I remember correctly, said, you repeated it several times, that he's not a task force member and that he had no business in wearing that uniform. Just for clarity, you're aware today that he is in fact qualified to wear that uniform and is authorized to.
Is that a question?
It's a question.
So, the point I made at the time, Chairman, was that he wasn't a task force member. He was a divisional commissioner for KZN. And he had previously been a task force member, some years before that. And the point I made at the time was that this whole media conference, and it's, by the way, somewhere included in my statement, and I put a picture in one of the annexes, where you've got a person dressed in combat uniform, task force uniform, and you're not a task force member, you were some years prior to that. In my opinion, and this is just my opinion, it's my personal opinion, and bearing in mind at that stage, I knew already of his involvement in trying to sabotage the investigation into General Pashlani by soliciting and hiring people from IPID to come and work in the police and leave IPID and in return give information against Robert McBride. So I was aware of that. Now, at the same time, I was also aware, although I had no specific prima facie evidence, there was a media article which has been repeated in my sworn statement that identifies the relationship between General Masemola and General Mkhwanazi back in 2012, when an alleged amount of 35 million was spent on buying luxury motor cars without going through any tender process whatsoever. And I was able to identify that one of those cars was a Mercedes ML350 that found its way into the hands of the then Minister of Police for private use. And the regulations, internal police regulations concerning the purchase of motor cars from the slush fund, I still call it the slush fund, we call it the Secret Service account, whatever you want. I call it a slush fund because it's been a slush fund for 25 years. The cars purchased from the slush fund are never supposed to be given or used by registered, known publicly police officials. And they bought 35 million rands worth of cars and shared them out, which included cars that went to people at police head office. And there's no doubt about that. And the whole thing was brushed under the woodwork. So I made the comment that appearing on the 6th of July media conference with 8 armed men with automatic weapons dressed in combat uniform and masks, was it a media conference or was it an operation that was going to take place? And it gave the absolute impression to me, when I looked at the presentation that he did, it gave the absolute impression to me that he was creating a red herring for the criminal activity that goes on in crime intelligence. And I think that is a fact, and it can be proven, and it will unroll when we see the criminal trial taking place of the 5 generals and 2 brigadiers from crime intelligence, because I believe what he was effectively doing, and I have no axe to grind for any of the generals in the police, whether it's Sabir or whoever, I have no axe to grind. But the reality of it, that media conference was not only dishonest, it was divisive, and it was intended to distract attention away from what's been going on in the police in KZN.
Thank you, Mr. Sullivan. 2 more questions. The one is, can you confirm how you obtained, or from who you obtained the affidavit purportedly deposed to by Mr. Nangi? Particularly given that the specific affidavit appears to be identical in substance and form to the affidavit previously circulated by General Sonona to Kat Matlala.
Okay, so I don't know General Sonona, and the first I heard about Kat Matlala was what I saw in the media. But what I did see last year was a story in the media. I think it's included in my statement, and I can't refer to the paragraph right now, but I've attached a copy of the media article, and I think it was Sunday World. I can't remember which. I think it was Sunday World, and when I saw this article, it piqued my interest. Now, you know, most journalists, they write articles based on what they have in front of them. And if you can get a trusted relationship with a journalist, you can get them to supply you with some information. So I found the journalist in question, and I said to him, I'd like to investigate this a little bit further. And the reason I wanted to investigate it further, Chairman, is because one of the people named there is a Colonel Dawood. And that's the same Colonel Dawood that kidnapped a member of my staff. And it's the same Colonel Dawood that was involved in taking my cell phone unlawfully, which Pashlani then read out in Parliament. And it's the same Colonel Dawood that threatened to assault me. So I realized that there's somehow a link there. So I then asked that journalist, I would like to investigate this matter a lot further. Would you be kind enough to share with me the affidavit? I first of all phoned Ricardo Angelo or something, the attorney, because his name was mentioned in the article. So I tracked him down and I asked him, can you share that affidavit with me? He said, let me check with my client. He checked with his client, he phoned me back, he said, Paul, the client doesn't want you to see it. So then I got the journalist to supply it. After I got it, I then phoned the attorney again. I said, listen, I've got it, but I'd like to actually meet face to face with your client because there's a few issues I have with this affidavit and I'd like to just unpack it. And he said, let me come back to you. And he came back to me and he said to me, it seems to me that the client doesn't want to see you. I then formed the opinion, Chairman, that some parts of that affidavit were probably truthful and some of it probably not. But I wanted to get to the bottom of those aspects of it that I was interested in, which was what he referred to in his affidavit as the torture and the assaults that took place at some farm somewhere in KZN in front of General Mkhonasi, where General Mkhonasi was alleged to have made comments. And then the tape recording of the wife of Nangi or Nanji, I don't know how you say it, the tape recording, which was included in the affidavit, of how Dawood phoned this woman and she tape recorded the call, and Dawood is saying to her, if we don't get the truth out of you, we're gonna chop your husband up and send him back to you in a cardboard box. So that was what I wanted to drill down into. I had no axe to grind for Nanji. I've never met him, spoken to his lawyer. If somebody asked for my personal opinion would probably be that, you know, the truth is there, but there's some fabrication stuff there. He denies being involved in certain events, but I would imagine if the police had gone about it the correct way, instead of torturing him and assaulting him, they might well have had a conviction by now, but that's not the way they went about it. So they poisoned their own well.
Then, in terms of policy, if you were to have a magic wand and you could tackle the organized crime crisis being run from inside SAPS,
Yeah.
sadly, in some cases, 2 or 3 things that you would kick off with to try and resolve this.
Yeah, thank you. That's a really great question, and I want to refer quickly, if I can, to paragraph 171 and it's not long, so I can just read it out. Bless you. I said there's only one, sorry for the typo, there's only one way to fix it. The question is, how can the criminal justice system be fixed? I said there's only one way to fix it. It needs a zero tolerance campaign together with a change in legislation. So I'm grateful to have the opportunity to present to this committee my ideas, because I'm not a legislator, you guys are. Together with a change in legislation, so that any police officer or prosecution official, no matter the rank, is immediately and automatically suspended following being arrested or charged with any offence involving dishonesty. And I'm particular about offence involving dishonesty, because sometimes they might be arrested for drink driving or, and I'm not saying that that should be condoned, but it shouldn't stop a person doing it. And then I said, any employee in the CJS, that's the criminal justice system, convicted of any offence involving dishonesty should be automatically dismissed. And that would require a change in the legislation. Then I'm also saying probative tests should be carried out on all candidates for senior appointments in the criminal justice system. There's no probative tests being done. If they did probative tests, Masamolo wouldn't be chief of police today. Pashlani would have never been chief of police. You know, they need to do these probative tests. And I'm saying we need to develop the law in South Africa, the common law offence of abuse of public office, because it is a common law offence. There's no act. So it's a common law offence. Believe it or not, there's lots of offences which are common law, and they've been developed through trials and appeals and stuff like that. It's time we woke up in South Africa and developed the common law offence of abuse of public office. Because overseas, if you abuse public office, you go to prison. In this country, you get nothing. You might get fired if you're unlucky. But the chances are you can abuse your office and carry on working. And then if you start sending people to prison for abusing public office, it's going to send out a very clear signal. And I think I also said that, and it's probably not mentioned here, that it should be a criminal offence for any senior police official to ignore a DPCI judge report. And I've included in my submission 2 DPCI judge reports with scathing attacks on generals in the police. And nothing happened to any of them. They were covered up, they were protected. And I'm saying that should be a criminal offence. DPCI judge recommended disciplinary proceedings. Nothing happened. The counting officer of the police should have been criminally charged for that. Those generals could have been gone. And if you get rid of people out of the police with bad ethics, you're going to clean up the police. And you don't start at the bottom, you start at the top and work your way down. And if we could do that in South Africa, we would turn the ship around, and we will get the rule of law back in South Africa. You know, I talked to some really, really good cops, career policemen, fantastic, the salt of the earth, and they feel so betrayed by senior police management. And if we can get the stability back into the police and get the ethics back into the police. Once upon a time, a policeman was proud to be a policeman. Now they keep quiet about it because they're seen as a scum of the earth. For what? Because 5 or 10% of their leaders are corrupt. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. And thank you, Mr. Sullivan. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Skosana. (11:43).
Pardon me?
Thank you, Chair. I was listening to our witness lecturing us how to run this country, that overseas, this is what they are doing. Some of us, Mr. O'Sullivan, we don't have dual citizenship. We are South Africans. Our DNA, which runs in our blood and vein, we are not Europeans. We are not settlers in this country. And it's unacceptable for you to lecture us about how things should be run in this country. You've been doing this for many years, unabated, unprovoked. And I'm not even sure whether, because your journalists, which you say there's good journalists, they give you news. I guess we are talking about your Marian, who's the, Marian Tham, Karen Morgan, Passon, the Stratcom journalists who are misleading you. But let's start here, Mr. O'Sullivan. Are you the same Paul O'Sullivan who was born on February 17, 1953, or you were born in August 1955?
Chairman, I was born on the 26th of August 1955.
Thank you. Now,
Sorry, let me finish.
no, I'm fine. Remember,
but
you are responding on me.
What I cannot accept is a 30-second question or 10-second question preceded by a 5-minute lecture where you defame me. I have never, ever lectured. I was asked a question and I answered the question. That's not a lecture.
No, you were
And I think we
lecturing
really
us.
We really need to keep our decorum here, because
Yeah,
if you're going to sit there and defame me and lecture me, I will respond accordingly.
No, I will as well. I mean, you made an interview on NCA. You said that we must leak our asses. You said that on NCA, you using your language.
Sorry, I said what?
We must leak our asses.
I must eat your what?
You must hear again. I think those hearing devices are not doing justice to you. You said on NCA that we must leak our asses.
Eat your asses.
Lick our asses.
Who said that?
You.
Rubbish.
Yeah, let me tell you, for maybe you've forgotten. We are going to play that video here.
Okay.
Yes. I think we'll play it at the end. I can tell you now, you are going even not to disclose. You said as well, when you wrote, to say that you don't want to be interviewed by MK Party, EFF, and Action SA. Am I right?
Chairman, those were, shall we call it, interactions that took place before I decided to come and testify. And those interactions were supposed to point out that, by the way, I'm not happy to be interrogated by people who belong to a party formed from what I consider to be a criminal syndicate.
Yeah, now, hence I'm saying that your attitude, the way you behave like, you are talking to your, I'm not sure, I don't even say to your workers. We are members of parliament here. Every 400 member in this house is a member of parliament. You can't dictate who you want to speak to. You can't say to us that we are not capable of getting and probing you like any other witness. You are not a special person here.
Now, I don't know what your question, you're making statements. Chairman, the reality of the situation is the MKP went on record before I came here to give evidence, insulting me and defaming me. So whatever they may do in this House, they have privilege for. But what they don't have privilege for is insulting me and defaming me on social media, and they become experts at it. And the reason they're doing it is because, and this is the reason why I've asked the Madlanger Commission to investigate certain members of this committee for actually being involved in protecting criminals in the criminal justice system.
Chair, I'm going to say this. Paul O'Sullivan has been doing this for many years. And as members of Parliament, what we are telling me now, you are telling about members of the MK, I don't know where, or members of this Parliament. You must give me a name and not just cast aspersion. You must say who has done so here. But be that as it may, I'm going to start now. You went to Czech Republic with Brigadier Gineza. Is it true?
I went with Brigadier Ginenda and a prosecutor. I can't remember the name of the prosecutor now.
Who paid for that trip?
I paid for the trip.
Don't you think that's you are interfering with the work of the police?
Definitely not. In fact, I can explain it. And when you get there, what you're not going to do, and I've warned you about this before.
No, Chair.
You're not going to make
Chair,
allegations and
Chair,
not allow me to answer.
Chair.
I'm not going to complete my answer
Chair.
like this.
Chairman,
I
haven't said anything.
The inference is, he's trying to make an inference that it was
Chair.
improper. And I want to give an explanation, and I will give that explanation, Chairman.
Chair,
Wait, both.
with your indulgence, I've asked a question. I need an answer, period.
My answer is very simple.
Wait, both of you.
Thank
Wait, Mr. Paul O'Sullivan. Wait, Honorable Skosan. You know, the two of you had a frenetic start. The manner in which your conversation started, it started with sparks flying. And it can never be a way to sustain a conversation. It can't be. Can you calm down? Both of you, calm down and have a conversation. He asked you a question about Brigadier Ginenda, and is it Brigadier or General Ginenda? Yes, and somebody, you said you paid for them.
And then I was told, do you not think this is interfering in the work of the police? And that's what I'm responding to, Chairman.
No, then there was a follow-up question, because we are also investigating public interference in the work of the SAPS. He asked you that question, following up on the question that he earlier put to you.
Yeah.
So
that's what I tried to
So
answer.
now it's time for you
to answer that.
to answer. Don't breathe heavily on each other's necks.
No, absolutely
Yes.
not. So we need to have a little bit of context, though, because what had happened at the time, this related to an investigation into a criminal enterprise being run by Mr. Radovan Krejcir. And Mr. Radovan Krejcir, we have the information, how many people have been murdered, how many crimes have been committed, the drug cartel he was running, all the rest of it. I brought that case to the police. The police didn't find out about it accidentally. I brought that case to the police. This man was running a criminal empire out of a pawn shop in Bedford View. People's homes were getting robbed, people were getting murdered. So I came to the police and I laid it all out. I also went to see Brigadier Ginenda. Why? Because Brigadier Ginenda...
Point of order, Chair, please.
Brigadier Ginenda was outside my house on the morning that Radovan Krejcir tried to kill me. And there was an attempt to murder me. That was on the 9th of January 2014. I then sat down with the police and I explained to them what needed to be done. They applied for permission to go and interview a witness who I had identified in Prague, in the Czech Republic. I'd flown to Prague myself at my own expense, and I'd been able to provide the outline of the statement this witness would make. I then went back.
Chair,
I got them
Point
to
of order,
agree-
Chair.
I got them to agree to come to the Czech Republic. They applied for the funding, and the funding was only granted for them to travel to London.
Chair,
couldn't-
Chair, point of order, Chair. Please.
I need to finish, please.
No,
And I'm nearly
Chair,
there.
it's 10 minutes, he's explaining one thing, Chair, please.
No,
Yeah.
it's-
I don't have the luxury, Chair. I've asked whether you
Yeah.
went with Kiniza,
It's
and he said so. I don't need anything further than that.
Let me tell you, Honorable Scott, it's you who is asking the witness questions. You can't call a point of order because the witness is responding to the questions. that you are
Chair,
asking him.
need an explanation. I wanted he gave me an answer that he went with Kiniza and somebody else.
What you need to do is, where you get satisfied, just inform him that
He's refusing, Chair. I said I'm fine with the answer.
I'm nearly finished, Chairman. I would have been finished if you hadn't have interrupted.
okay. Yeah. Next,
No, Chair, you must stop. When I'm saying I'm satisfied, I'm okay, Chair.
yeah,
No, it
next
doesn't
I'm
work.
I'm the one who's asking the. If I'm not
Yeah,
satisfied, I'm going to really ask again. But I'm fine. He confirmed that he went with a brigadier, Kiniza, and the prosecutor or whatever. And my follow-up question would be simple: that was illegal as well,
Okay.
because we have SSA in this country. Brigadier Kiniza as well. It was not right for him even to go to Czech Republic.
That is not true, Chairman. He's making statements now, not asking questions. And if I can finish answering my question, the member will fully understand what took place.
No, Chair, I'm happy with
And
that
what-
answer. I'm
no,
fine.
Okay,
it doesn't
just-
work like that. I'm not
Just-
going to
just-
take any more
just one-
questions until I
just-
can
just
finish
one
answering this
just one
question.
moment.
No, your arrogance is not going to help you with me.
Yeah.
You can play that with other people, not with me.
Not playing a game.
No. Your white supremacy arrogance is not going to help you with me. You must answer what I'm asking you. You can't dictate to me.
What I'm not doing
Just
is
one-
No,
shouting.
we are doing exactly that. What we are doing to the security clusters. Dictating, you can dictate to them. No, not to members of parliament. Your
Honorable-
arrogance is not going to help you.
Honorable
If you
Scott,
are attacked, you are attacked.
Honorable Skosan, just a moment. Honorable Malim.
Chair, I will ask you to prevail over the witness because he can't speak to members of parliament in a manner he's doing. To an extent that he even points fingers and that he even interrupts you and get into exchange with members of parliament at this level, because all he needs to do is to answer the question, and if Honorable Skosana says I'm satisfied, he must plead with you that I need to expand on this point. I'm asking for indulgence, Chairperson. That's what a dignified visitor does. Not to come here and engage in a manner he's doing with us and try to threaten members of parliament and all of that. That's what gets some of these members of parliament agitated. There's a chairperson here. He's been invited here and he's going to respect the chairperson and obey the rules of parliament. When he's not satisfied with a certain conduct, he gets his turn, which will not eat on members' time, and say, Chair, there's certain observation I want to make, which I'm not happy with. And he does that. Not to exchange with us and point fingers at us and tell us, some of you must be investigated by Madlanga, whatever. We have heard that nonsense before. It will never move us. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you so much. Honorable Skosan.
Thank you, Chair. Because of time, really, it's unfortunate that our history as well, it pains us to see some someone who displays this arrogancy and think that we are just a piece of what he said. When he said, we must, we must lick her ass. Now, you said that all your activities which makes you to come into this country is because there was a rule of law. And I believe that during apartheid time, there was no rule of law at all. In the 80s, you said yourself that you moved from UK, where there is a rule of law, to apartheid South Africa, where there was no rule of law. Why?
Chairman, which paragraph did I say I moved here because there was a rule of law? Which paragraph of my statement? I said that the actions I've taken since I arrived here, which included joining the police and spending 36 years of my life in South Africa fighting crime, was to ensure that we have a rule of law. I never at any stage stated that I chose South Africa because there's a rule of law. And if the member can point that out to me, which paragraph he's referring to, I'd be grateful.
I will, at a later stage, I will. I've got it on your statement, right. Now, you have a business called O'Sullivan, Brosnan and Associate, am I right?
That's correct.
Who is your co-director in that company?
Ashley Brosnan.
When was he registered?
I don't have the records in front of me.
When did you start working with her?
I think she's been employed 6 years, 7 years.
Yeah, but when was he registered as a quota? You don't know.
I have a secretary that handles all that.
So you don't know when she joined your company.
She joined my company 6 or 7 years ago.
Now, are you aware that she was not registered with CIRA? Yes, she is.
She applied to register with CIRA. She had problems with her fingerprints, but if you look at the legislation and the rules of CIRA, she's a certified fraud examiner, so she doesn't have to be registered with CIRA.
No, then why was she registering with CIRA if she was not supposed to?
Nobody said she's not supposed to. I prefer to have her registered, but she's not obliged to, because there's a ruling between the ACFE and CIRA that stipulates how certified fraud examiners do not need to register with CIRA.
No, I'm talking about your company. Remember, your company is registered with CIRA, am I right?
The company is,
Yes. And yourself registered with CIRA?
I'm registered because I don't just do forensic investigations, I give security advice. And
So-
if you give security advice, the law requires that you are registered with CIRA.
Now, so you were comfortable that your co-director is not registered with CIRA?
Correct.
So do you think that you were operating legally?
Correct.
Okay. Now, of all the countries in the world, why did you choose to invest in apartheid South Africa? And you break the international sanction and boycott of South Africa, then why?
Pardon? I didn't quite hear you.
I'm saying you chose to invest in South Africa. Am I right?
Correct.
And you know that there was international sanction and boycott in South Africa. Am I right? And you moved to South Africa so that you could enjoy the apartheid South Africa. Am I right to say so?
Definitely wrong.
So why did you choose South Africa when there was international boycott, but you chose to come in here?
Because the winds of change were taking place and I could see that South Africa was moving towards a democracy. I already owned properties here and I wanted to come and stay here and become part of that movement to move towards democracy.
When did you own properties in South Africa? Which year?
I can't remember. In the 80s, in the mid-80s, I bought some properties here.
Now,
Investment properties.
Now-
I've bought properties in different parts of the world.
and you haven't mentioned St. Helena as well in your affidavit, am I right?
What paragraph? I don't know.
No, I'm asking. Did you mention St. Helena, the Iceland?
I Iceland.
Yes. St.
I
Helena.
have no investments in Iceland.
So these journalists you trust who publish all those things here,
I have
they are lying.
which journalists do you trust?
No, you were talking about, I don't trust journalists. I told you, those journalists are
Sorry.
Stratcom.
Sorry, Chairman, I'm not raising my voice, and I'd appreciate it if the member would cease to raise his voice and talk to me like I'm a little child.
I'm not raising voice. I'm talking to, it's because we've got this problem of hearing.
It's coming louder through here.
Yeah, you can take them out. It's fine.
No, I don't need that, Chairman.
Yeah, so it's up to you. So don't dictate
So
to
what
me.
is your question?
My question is simple. I asked you that you didn't declare St. Helena, your investment there.
Well, I must declare all my investments around the world?
No, I never said you must. I'm just saying you've declared others. Why this one was not declared?
Because it's not, it's a public company based in London.
Let me
And
tell you why.
Sorry, you know the problem, Chairman? I'm starting to answer my question and the member is interrupting me. And I
Yeah,
can't
because
work
you know
like
why.
it. No, you can't tell me why. You let me finish answering
So
and then you tell me why you think why.
So you will tell me to dictate to me.
You see, Chairman, this is the problem I'm having. I've got a very antagonistic person here who wants to.
I'm a member of parliament. I'm not a person. You can say a member of parliament here.
Very antagonistic member of parliament here who is trying to talk me down, belittle
No, we are back.
defame me,
Anyway, we are back.
and be as arrogant as he accuses me of being.
Yeah, but we are back. Anyway.
The reality is, my investments in St. Helena have got absolutely nothing to do with the reason we are here.
Because you are a spy. You are hiding things because you are a spy. And you will never accept here, like any other spy, besides the other witness we had yesterday. Paul, is it your UKM number 24302-818?
I don't know what he's talking about.
No. I'm asking you. You must say no if it's not true.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm talking about
Chairman,
your army number in the UK.
Chairman, I'm being told now that I'm a spy.
No, you are a spy, yes.
Sorry, Chairman, I'm not going to put up with this rubbish. I am having this being repeatedly told by this member that I'm a spy. Now, I say to you, if you believe I'm a spy, produce the evidence.
No, you know the evidence is that, like you say, that some people are giving you won't disclose them. They told us that you are a spy. You people which you are working with. Hence, I'm asking you, Mr. O'Sullivan, your UK AM number, is it 24302-818? Yes or no?
I don't know what he's talking about, Chairman.
I'm talking about your army number.
I don't have an army number.
So it's not true.
It's not, I don't know what he's talking about, Chairman.
Okay, it's fine, Mr. O'Sullivan. Let me come back to you. Are you a woman abuser?
Just a moment. Honorable Malam.
Thanks, Chair. Just a quick follow-up. When you are in the military, you are given a military number, a force number or a military number or anything of that sort. He's asking if your military number, when you were young in the UK military intelligence, is the one that is reading out or not. Or in the UK, you didn't require any force number or anything of that
Oh,
sort.
there probably was, but I mean, we're talking 50 years ago. Chairman, I can't remember a number from 50 years ago. How?
Yes, this army number.
How
Yes,
can
so then you're not supposed to have answered by saying, I don't know what you are talking about.
I didn't know what he was talking about, Chairman.
You could have said that the answer you give now that it's about 50 years ago. I would have forgot.
The
I'm
member over here explained what he was talking about. I didn't understand.
I'm still on the
Okay.
platform. You have been in the UK Army. That is what.
50 years ago, Chairman.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what?
And then Honorable Malema is checking with you if you were once designated a number. That's what he's checking.
Yes, Chairman.
Is it a practice in the UK Army to designate force numbers?
It's a practice throughout the world, Chairman.
Okay.
But I can't
And
remember
then-
any number from
And then
50 years
Honorable
ago.
Skosana is reading
Yes.
a number there to say, I have this number with me. Can you confirm is this number could have once been designated to you or not?
Okay, and my answer is I can't remember 50 years ago.
Okay. Honorable Skosana.
Thank you, Chair. On that, Chair, let me put it on record. Paul O'Sullivan, UK Army number was 243-02818. He served from 1972 to 1977. These were provided by NIA in 2002 for the purpose of...
Sorry.
Wait, please.
I can't
No,
hear
do-
what you're saying. You're
Yeah.
talking fast.
No, you
Provided
choose.
by who?
You choose sometimes not to hear me. I'm saying, Chair, Paul O'Sullivan, Army number is 243-02818, and he served from 1972 to 1977. This was provided to then NIA in 2002 for the purpose of verification with the British and the part of his vetting process when he was employed at AXA. I'm not saying that, I just wanted to find out whether it's true it's got an army number, nothing else. Now, let me pass, Chair, because of my time. It's got that army number, even if you deny, like every other spy denies that he's a spy. So I'm saying to you, Chair, we are going to waste time on that because it's going to deny it. But let me come to this. My question was, are you a woman abuser?
Definitely not, Chairman.
Because your ex-wife here, do you remember that case which was opened in Randburg?
This was in the last century. That's 20.
It doesn't matter when, Chair. I'm asking a quick question. Are you a woman abuser because your wife complained, he opened a case against you?
And the answer is no, Chairman.
Odena, Jadet, or Sullivan?
I'm not a woman abuser.
Yeah, but your wife says so here. And you paid as well. You admitted here.
Chairman,
I've got this with me here. I'm stacking it.
this matter was discussed at the last time we were in session.
No, but you're asked by me
And
now. It's me who's asking you now.
And I want to explain the answer I gave then, which is the same answer I'm giving now. An allegation was made after an incident took place. I denied the allegation at the time, and my attorney advised me, Paul, you just pay this admission of guilt fine. I think it was 500 or 600 rand.
No, it's not true as well, that money. It's not true.
Well, I can't remember the. have
Yeah,
you got the amount?
because we are lying. You know how much you paid. It's here.
So perhaps you'll enlighten me.
No, but I'm saying to you, why are you lying to us? Because you know how much you paid.
Chairman, I can't remember back 26 years. It was 500 or 600 rand. Or
It's not true.
So what is
Yeah,
the amount, Chairman?
So, Chair,
What is the amount?
unfortunately, we have here a witness who's stubborn, who behaves like he wants to dictate to us, you know, how we should question him, and he will respond the way he wants, because he wants to mislead us here. We have facts here, Mr. O'Sullivan.
You
We
have
do
what?
research.
I can't.
But
you-
because we are a spy, we are not going to accept anything from us here.
Chairman, I have had this member unlawfully and dishonestly calling me a spy at least 10 times. And if he calls me a spy one more time, I'm going to stop answering his questions. I'm
It's
fed
fine.
up with it.
I'm happy with
He's
that.
trying to make his point, and he's lying through his teeth. I am not a spy, and I've never been a spy. I've served this country well and faithfully, risking my life for 36 years.
You are believing
not-
your own lies.
Not to come here and have a member of this House unlawfully accusing me of being a spy.
Chair, my last minute, which I'm going to finish now. Mr. O'Sullivan said he filed an affidavit to the high-level review panel on Fraser. But the review panel was an internal SSA investigation. Who invited you to file an affidavit?
Chairman, the internal review that took place invited public comment. They made, in the media, they invited public comment. And the reason I came in on Mr. Fraser was because I opened a criminal docket at Rosebank Police Station against Mr. Fraser for perjury after he wrongly and falsely accused me of assisting our current president.
Chair is not answering my question. I'm sorry.
Wrongly accused me of assisting our current president of helping to catch and torture people who stole money from the farm parlor. And when I saw that statement, I made a docket against Arthur Fraser, and I went a step further. I sent a copy of that docket to the Honourable President, if that's His Excellency the President, and I also provided that information and more information about the allegations concerning Arthur Fraser and his links to
Chair,
David
he is not
Mfolo.
answering my question. I said that he does not qualify to be part and parcel of the person who are doing an affidavit. Public participation, we know about that. My question was simple to you, that you are not qualified to do that.
I'm not what?
You are not qualified to do that. That was an SSA internal thing.
They invited public.
No, we know that.
So I made a sworn affidavit, Chairman, a very detailed sworn affidavit, which set out the links between Arthur Fraser and the founder of the MK Party and others. And those links in my affidavit, Chairman, proved beyond reasonable doubt
for
criminal
you.
links.
Chair, thank you very much for intelligence. But what I want to say to Mr. O'Sullivan is that you are a conman, you are a thug, you are a thief, you are everything which this country does not need. I thank you, Chair.
And I'm not allowed to respond to those insults, Chairman.
I'm looking at you. I want to hear if you have a comment, what is being said.
Well, my comment is everything the member just said, Chairman, is an absolute lie, and it's intended to protect criminals. Thank you.
Thank you.
Spies always say so, Chair. A spy is always like this.
Thank you so much, honorable,
Thank you, Chair.
honorable members who are going to do this. The documents that we have circulated must remain confidential. They must not be made available or circulated to anybody outside the committee. Can I check with the political parties that have questions to ask?
Chair, before I wanted a point of clarity, hence my hands was up.
Eh,
My hands was up for a point of clarity on Mr. Paul O'Sullivan.
yeah.
Yeah, so you didn't note me, but you saw my hand. Can I speak? Can I
Yeah.
ask him?
May I get another water? Thank you.
Babu Paul. Yes, sir. Babu Paul. Gila.
Thank you.
Ngicela ukubuza. I just want a clarity here, Mr. Paul. You say you were accused by Mr. Arthur Fraser of assisting who?
Sorry, accused by what?
Mr. Arthur Fraser.
Yes.
Of assisting who?
He accused me, Chairman, in an affidavit which was published in the media. And in that affidavit, he accused me of assisting the current president and the presidential, I think he's a major general, Wally Roeder. I was accused of, by Arthur Fraser, of assisting the president and Wally Roeder to track down the people who had allegedly broken into and stolen $5 million or whatever the amount was from under a couch. And that was a complete fabrication and a lie.
Okay.
And because of it, I decided to open a docket against him. And I went to the media and I used my right of reply. And I explained to the media that Arthur Fraser actually needs to be criminally charged, and so too does Walter or Wally Ruder, the Major General in the police.
Okay. And then another one is that who is the founder of the MKP?
My understanding, Chairman, is it's the ex-president Jacob Zuma.
Oh, okay.
Am I wrong?
No. I noticed at first when you labeled, you called President Ramaphosa Honorable President, and at one stage you called President Zuma Jacob Zuma, just like that. So I wanted to ask whether, are you taking sides, or are you a certain faction fighting for certain people in that regard? That's what I wanted to understand.
No,
I'm clear. Thank you.
Well, I must answer the question. When the
When the excellent President Zuma, you can say it.
When Jacob Zuma was
No. It's the your excellent President Jacob Zuma, as you say
when
with
the
Ramaphosa.
ex-president Jacob Zuma was president, I referred to him as President Jacob Zuma, and it's really semantics at the end of the day. But when he was president, I actually took steps and opened dockets against the people that were conspiring to have him arrested back before Polokwane. And that's made clear in this submission of mine. The fact is that I was seeing, whether it was right or wrong what they were doing, I was seeing that the interference in the criminal justice system was wrong. And that's why I highlighted it. So even if I didn't like Jacob's then president, well, he wasn't president then, he was about to become president, even if I didn't like him, I still saw what was being done to him as being wrong. And in the same way that if I see even a criminal that's been charged with something being beaten, it's wrong. And therefore, I was talking about protecting the criminal justice system from having them being interfered with by politicians who want this person arrested quickly or that person to be let off the hook. And that's what I gave evidence on previously, Chairman, that the narrative before Polokwane conference was to get Jackie Salebi off the hook and get Jacob Zuma on the hook. And I tried to highlight that, and I opened the docket about it.
Okay.
Chair, can we play that clip for a minute, which I said, he said we must leak his.
Is it ready?
His S, yes. Ramano?
Okay, when we are still waiting for that, can I check, honorable members, we said there would be parties that may want to speak to the documents that have been circulated. Can I get indication which parties want to speak to those documents? Hello?
Is not come up. Thank you very much. No, just to get clarity, in this time that you are giving us, is it to focus solely on the new documents, or if there are other follow-up questions that we did not get a chance to ask, we may do so?
Yes, I said I'm going to allocate 10 minutes.
15.
Not more than 10 minutes, so that speaks to whatever a member may want to use that time to, but it's per party, not per individual member. Yes. You want to ask? Okay. Can Honorable Malim? Yeah, I'm seeing it's the ANC, the MKP, the EFF, and the PA. Bangazita. Okay. Can we start with the ANC?
No, thanks, Chair. No, I just wanted to use this opportunity to conclude on the questions that were not done. The first one, Mr. O'Sullivan, do you perhaps have any knowledge or information about what was called the Browse Mall report?
Chairman, the only knowledge I have of the Browse Mole report was what I read in the media about a certain person, I can't remember his name, who apparently produced a report. And that's really all I have no other knowledge about it. So, and to be honest with you, it never really stuck in my head what was going on at that time. So I can't even tell you what the allegations were in the Browse Mole report, other than I believe the report was subsequently discredited and became pro non scripto.
The second one, Mr. O'Sullivan, is I think in one of the question and answer session, one of my colleagues, it must have been Honorable Ngola, had asked you about what the former National Commissioner George Fivers had said about you. And at that time, the question was, were you aware that Mr. Fivers had said I mean, he had essentially said that you are somebody like an information peddler who's seeking attention. But I want to establish from that question. I picked it up somewhere in one of the interviews or reported about his interviews, Mr. Fivers, that he says or is alleged to have said that at some point you wanted to influence him to become or to take up a role of a police commissioner or something similar to that or equivalent to that in Ireland, and that if he takes that responsibility, it will do a great job for him to bring you along as his advisor. Do you know about that?
Chairman, that's complete fabrication. No such discussion. I understand, I don't do social media, but I think it was last week somebody brought to my attention that George Fivers had apparently done an interview somewhere and he said I was a name dropper. But the only time I mentioned him in Parliament was I talked about since the days of George Fivers, because he completed his term, and it had nothing to do with whether he was a good cop or a bad cop or whatever, but he completed his term as Commissioner of Police. And I was making the point that since George Fivers, which didn't say I was heaping praise on George Fivers or name-dropping George Fivers, I was merely pointing out that since George Fivers, we haven't had stability in the police. And that would be from the year 2000, which means for 26 years, we haven't had a police commissioner that completed his term or a police commissioner that did not get involved in unethical conduct. That's all the point I was trying to make, Chairman.
The last question, Mr. O'Sullivan, is when we had Mr. Nkabinde, when Mr. Nkabinde came before us, obviously he made some references about you targeting him. And I think he made references to a message allegedly from you when he was engaging with the committee. So my question is not whether that happened or did not happen, but are you planning, post your interaction with this other committee, are you planning to target anyone who came before us and said things that you were not comfortable about? If yes, why?
Sorry, targeting, that's a very strange term. I have opened a criminal docket against Cedric Nkabinde, and that docket has got a Cape Town registration number, and the docket has been opened against him for perjury because he lied to Parliament, and his lies before Parliament, I linked it to his previous position when he was a senior investigator at ARPID, and he crossed over. He became part of the infiltration of IPID by General Pashlani and General Mkonazi. And they had secret meetings to try and get other IPID investigators to stop investigating Pashlani. And that's mentioned in some detail in my statement with the supporting documents. So it's not a case of me targeting him, it's a case of bringing him to justice, which is what has to happen. You can't come and sit in this committee and lie through your teeth, as I've been accused of doing, which I haven't. But you can't come and sit here and lie through your teeth and then, through those lies, implicate somebody that was doing nothing more than exposing a corrupt chief of police, which is what I did.
Thank you, Chair. Thanks, Mr. O'Sullivan.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you so much, Chief Whip, Honorable Nomvalo. It's at 8 minutes past 12, your time expires.
May you please switch off the mic here? Thank you. Good morning, Mr. O'Sullivan.
Good morning.
Have you ever investigated a white person since you assumed your responsibility of being they are saying you are a forensic investigator.
Correct.
And you are not, in my belief. That's what I'm telling you. But
Okay, so if we can just get to the question rather than...
yeah, that's where I'm going. That's where I'm going. Have you ever investigated a white person?
Lots of them, and I've put them in, well, I haven't put
can
them
you
in.
name
The courts
one?
have put them in prison.
Can you name one?
Well, one classic example is Ryder van Kretje, who got 35 years. I spent 3 years investigating that matter. I investigated a crooked lawyer by the name of George Michaelides, who stole 40 million rand from his clients.
Okay.
I investigated.
I think that is,
you asked me to name.
No,
I'm
but
naming.
I think that is enough.
Yes,
so I'm satisfied.
Lots of them. Lots
Okay.
of them.
Okay, I'm satisfied. Now, you are saying that people who were fighting against you because you were fighting against corruption took you by a convoy to the airport and reported that you are leaving the country while you are not. You said who are those people who took you by the convoy?
So, Chairman, I think there was a misunderstanding. What I said was my legal team had a meeting with representatives of Jacob Zuma, ex-President Jacob Zuma, and with the then current Commissioner of Police, the head of crime and then head of crime
Who were those
intelligence.
representatives of the former
I
president?
would have to go back at the document, which I would have to find and get their names.
So on what capacity were they coming? Were they his legal representatives or they were working in the presidency?
Chairman, I can't remember whether, because I wasn't at that meeting, my legal representatives went to that meeting. And that meeting took place after I was informed I had, I think, 6 criminal trials that I had to face. All of them trumped up criminal charges.
No, but I just want to
I'm
satisfy.
trying to finish answering the question. No, Chairman,
No,
I cannot
think you have
answer the question if
answered.
I'm
No,
going to
I
be
think you have
interrupted.
answered. You are not going to do to me what you have done to Honorable Skosana. I am the one who's asking you questions here. How did you satisfy yourself that those people were representing President Jacob Zuma?
The meeting was recorded and the people stated who they were and what they were there for.
Who initiated that meeting?
Those people did.
They initiated it. So when who sent the invitation?
Chairman, I wasn't at the meeting. So what happened was we had in 2016, General Mokateri from the DPCI in Gauteng, together with a prosecutor by the name of Jabulani Malochwa, and they told my legal representative that they've got all these charges against me and I'm going to spend the rest of my life in prison.
Okay, so
let me
no, the question
I
was
can't
who
answer-
initiated it. I
So
think
I'm
you have
trying to-
answered.
I'm trying to
No,
answer.
you have answered. I'm satisfied. Now, did they say that they are representing Mr. Jacob Zuma in their representation,
Pardon
in
me?
their letter?
I didn't catch
In
that.
their invitation, did they say they are representing Mr. Jacob Zuma?
They say he was present. He wasn't present.
I beg your pardon?
Ex-President Jacob Zuma wasn't present at the meeting
Why are you saying they were representing him?
because one of the persons at the meeting was from the National Intelligence Agency, very high up in the National Intelligence Agency, and he said at that meeting he'd met with Jacob Zuma and he had authorized this process to go forward.
Okay. You have repeatedly said that you have repeatedly characterized the MK party as a party of criminals. Who is a criminal in the MK party?
I have not said the MK party is a party of criminals.
What did you say?
I've said the MK party was formed and came into being through a criminal.
Through criminals. What do you mean by that?
Pardon?
What do you mean by that?
By what?
By what you are saying?
A person who is a criminal.
Who?
Jacob Zuma.
He's a criminal.
He was convicted
When? Where?
by the Constitutional Court and he had to go and serve time in prison.
So he's a criminal.
For what
I'm not the criminal.
So he's a criminal.
So, Chairman, if this is going to become a political discussion, it's not something I want to engage in.
Okay.
I'm
Now
not,
let's move
I'm
to
not a member
let's
of
move to
that
another
party or
question.
this party.
You are saying
I thought we were going to have this.
you are saying your relationship with General Spear is professional, and you have held all your meetings with him in your offices.
No. I said most of the meetings took place in his offices, and occasionally we had meetings in my office, but most of the meetings took place.
Who was organizing those meetings?
Whichever of my staff were dealing with the projects that we were dealing with.
No, I'm saying the first meeting that you held with him, who organized it and how?
I don't even remember when that first meeting was, but it was after he was brought back into the police service. He had previously been head of DPCI in Gauteng, and he was unlawfully dismissed. The Constitutional Court found, or the Labour Court found, that he was unlawfully dismissed. And
when you have
subsequently,
when you
he
have
was brought
meetings
back
with
into-
General Spear in your office, what were those meetings about in your office with General Spear?
They were about corrupt police officials and prosecutors.
So he came to your office to report other police officers.
No, Chairman, he didn't come to my office. You're trying to put words into my mouth. He didn't come to my
No,
office.
I'm asking. I'm not putting words.
No,
It's a
you-
question.
no, it wasn't a question. You said, so he came to your office.
And then I expect your
So
response.
the reality was, we had a meeting because of whatever the project was, and he happened to, and I said, we'll come to you, or he was going into Johannesburg, and he said, no, I'm coming that way, I'll meet at your office. And it wasn't General Sabir on his own. There would have been other, like, I can't remember their names now, but there would have been other brigadiers or generals.
So
with him.
those projects that you were discussing about, what were they related to?
Corrupt police officials and prosecutors.
So that's why I'm saying he came to your office to report other police officers.
No, you see, Chairman, when you open a docket, and it doesn't just finish there. There are aspects of the docket which come up. So I said we needed an urgent meeting because one of the accused in the matter were doing unlawful things, and I needed to bring it to his attention. And it wasn't something I wanted to do over the phone. And I said, we can have a meeting, or we can come to you. He said, actually, tomorrow I'm going to Johannesburg. I'll come there with the investigating officer. I can tell you, I think his name was Klopper, Captain Klopper.
Yeah, you are saying even after you left AXA, you continued to have a relationship with good police officers. Who are those police officers? that you continued to have? Just name a few that you can remember.
that we have good relationships with.
Who are those police officers?
Lots of them. Lots of them.
So, what made you to keep a relationship with them, even when you were outside the institution?
Outside what institution?
You are saying after you left AXA, you continued to have a good relationship with good police officers.
Because after I left AXA, Chairman, I opened criminal dockets against Jackie Celebi and others within the police. And actually at that stage, my relationship was not with police officials, it was with members of the DSO, which is the Scorpions. So my relationship wasn't with police, it was, and then what happened in 2010?
Thank you so much. Honorable Malem.
Thanks, Chairperson. I finished what time?
I didn't hear.
Okay.
12:18.
12?
18.
1-8.
Yeah,
Okay,
10 minutes.
thanks. Mr. O'Sullivan, I asked you about your qualifications and you said you're not prepared to discuss them, and I told you that you had already told us that you were electronic engineer. Me and you had a bit of a difference, and the chair came in to remind you that you said you've got an electronic engineer from some institution in the UK. You remember that?
Yes.
You don't have electronic engineering. You're not an engineer.
Chairman, that's not the case. I was registered as an engineer, and if you even go to, you're obviously referring to the what do you call it? This 90 whatever page document that AXA supplied.
No, I'm not referring to that. I'm referring to our discussion, me and you. You confirmed that you're an electronic engineer. I'm saying you are not.
I am, yeah. I'm not now. I ceased practicing.
No.
many
Qualification
years ago.
doesn't matter now or in the 50s. Or if you're a teacher until death.
Not necessarily.
You are qualified.
No, it's
You
not.
might not be teaching, but your qualification is teaching. Is a teacher.
Yeah, so in engineering, Chairman, you have to do what they call CPE, which is continual professional, or CPD, continual professional development. And
No.
you have to register so many hours each year the way you've continued with your professional development as an engineer. The same applies to lawyers, it applies to accountants, applies to that.
That's a professional engineer. You don't have a qualification in electronic engineering that makes you an engineer.
Yeah.
Whether you're still practicing or not, that is material, because that thing you are referring to, it's required when you are continuing to practice so that you can be regarded as professional engineer. You are not, you do not have a qualification in electronic engineering.
No, it's not true, Chairman. Unfortunately, the member is wrong. And if you look at page 34 of the documents which AXA submitted, it's there very clear, and this is not me that submitted this document. The Association of Supervisory and Executive Engineers, I was a member from the first day of March 1979. It's on page 34. There's another one. If I can find the page quickly, I saw it there somewhere. But I was registered with 2 institutions in the UK. I was registered with that, and that registration fell away in the 90s because I no longer practice engineering.
My guy, Mr. O'Sullivan, I'm saying there is a difference between having a qualification on electronics,
Yeah.
which makes you a technician, and a qualification in electronic engineering. There's a huge difference. So, if anything, if we're to go by anything that you said and accept it, you have a qualification in electronics, not in electronic engineering,
It's
and
wrong.
you are a technician.
Wrong, Chairman. I was registered with the Institute of engineers. With this and other qualifications, I was registered. So if we're going to sit here and pick through the bones of something 50 years ago or 40 years ago, I'm just not sure where this actually goes, other than a further attempt to discredit me as a witness.
Now, Mr. O'Sullivan, we are sitting here to investigate interference, and there are allegations that you have infiltrated us, and therefore your character is very important. You are not going to try to destabilize us here by saying, if we are sitting here for 50 years ago, you came here so many years ago, we are trying to find out how did you enter here. And to enter here, you would have made certain declarations, and we're trying to probe you on those declarations. There's nothing that has expired here. It's extremely relevant to the question of you being an infiltrator in this country. And an infiltrator will misrepresent the credentials. And this is relevant in that context. So, when you applied for your citizenship, you declared your highest qualification, which we now understand that actually that qualification you completed it within a year. You become an engineer through a qualification that is done within a year.
Chairman, when I became a citizen in this country, it wasn't based on any qualifications. I was accepted as a permanent resident in 1989 based on being a person of independent means. I didn't come here to work as this or work as that. I came here as an investor. And in 1995, when I became a citizen, I didn't make any declaration about what I was or who I was. My only declaration was that I'd lived continuously in the country for more than 5 years, and I took the oath of allegiance to South Africa based on the interim constitution, which was that I would faithfully serve the country and respect the country and not assist any foreign entity to do anything unlawful.
No, but I'm saying you cannot just walk in without filling in a form. You tell them who you are and where you went to school and all of that. But the reality is that, in fact, you were employed by Chubb Security as sales engineer when you came into the country.
No, that's not correct, Chairman. I later contracted with Chubb Security whilst I was still involved in my property developments. And by the way, Chairman, if you look at page 20 of the submission of AXA, because it's clear we're going into these documents that the member is talking to. Page 20 says, I'll read it to you, it's a letter dated 29th of October 1982. This is to certify that Mr. Paul O'Sullivan worked for our company during the period 6th of July 1981 to 29th of October 1982. This is from a firm called Wilkinson & Wilkinson Building Services Consulting Engineers. During this period, he has proved to be an excellent engineer and a very responsible person who gave 100% at all times. From an electrical point of view, he is easily capable of dealing with any aspect of design and installation in all types of commercial buildings, and is particularly meticulous with the administration part of his work. So it's not true, Chairman, to say that I'm not now an engineer, because I ceased to practice as an engineer, but I was an engineer. And
But when you were in the UK, you were not a property investor.
I was doing property investment.
No, you sold one house before you came to South Africa. How is that a property investment?
It's not true, Chairman. I did a lot of development in the UK, so...
But that's what you made, that's a declaration you made in Home Affairs.
No, it's not true.
You sold your house to come to South Africa. There was no any property investment that you declared.
The selling of my house, that was my private property.
Yes, it's
That
not
was
investment.
the house I was living in. That was after I came to South Africa.
You were fired at AXA for not having a collegiality with your colleagues and your supervisors.
Is that a question?
Yeah, I'm putting it to
Okay,
you.
well, the answer is quite simple. I had highlighted that the CEO, the new CEO of AXA, had conspired with Kusalani Security and Jackie Salebi to overturn the cancellation of the contract. And in 2022, I discovered that she had taken a gift from a company called
No, don't.
Chairman,
You
I'm
can't make
not-
such
I
allegations
have to-
against.
it's-
I'm asking
It's
you.
not an allegation I'm
It's
making.
in the
It can be
letter.
proven.
You are terminated because you don't have a
Chairman,
good relationship
this
with
is-
colleagues,
No,
and
this
you
is-
don't take instructions
no.
from your supervisor.
No, Chairman.
All because all
This
of
is
them were
abs-
black, and you wanted to report to a white supervisor.
This is absolute
Okay,
rubbish.
the time has expired. Can we take Bangazita?
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Good day, Mr. O'Sullivan. I just want to clear my mind on one.
Sorry, Chair.
Just a moment, Bangazita.
I'm worried that if you don't play that video that Honorable Skosana said he has, when that video is played, we may have questions on that video. And it would have helped us if that video was played much earlier before we ask. I don't know if it's ready. Let it be played.
I have checked it if it was ready. Okay, let's have it played.
Oh, Chair, the problem with the Secretariat, they say they can't play it on the screen, that interview with NCA. I must play it here. It will be the voiceover of his interview. I'm sorry? Yeah, because Ramano, you can respond on that. No, I'm not hiding it. I mean, I gave it to them. Ramano, you can respond.
Chair, I think the issue is the venue that we are using. I spoke to the technician so that we could play the video. They only brought us the speaker there. So I followed up with them and they said, no, we should be playing it from the phone against the microphone.
No, Chair, that's unacceptable. We've been playing videos here. We've been playing videos here. This video must be played. What is this thing that we get to be told by technicians they can't play a video?
And they are bringing us a Kumba fire.
And then they bring a speaker or must
Can't use a
listen
Kumba fire.
through a speaker. We've been playing videos here. It must be played.
Chair,
Can we play the
please, let's play the video, Chair. Please
Can
let
we
them
play the
play the
video?
video, please.
You want the Kumba fire, Chair. Chair, you want the Kumba fire.
You are giving us some few minutes, Chair.
Yeah,
I'm going to
But Bangazit, I'm going to allow you to go ahead when
I
we,
need to go in 35 minutes to go to the
yeah,
airport.
so that we,
I have a flight to catch.
that's what? That's what I'm saying, can we,
Well, thank you, Honorable Chairperson. It's such a pity that by the time the video is played, I would have actually exhausted my chance to ask any further questions. But my interest is to know whether Mr. Paul O'Sullivan had any previous, airport security management experience before he was appointed at AXA.
Thank you. Chairman, the experience I had was because of my injuries, I was no longer engaged in active policing. So I was doing fraud investigations, and then I ended up at the airport in the border police, and I was working in the border police there. And there were probably about 10 reservists working in the border police. And I sat down with the commander of the border police, and I said, if we can get additional reservists that can speak additional languages, we are going to be able to improve our ability to interview people who don't speak English or any African language. And during that process, we developed what we called an airport security improvement plan. And in order for me to understand what was going on there, I paid at my own expense to go on a course at ICAO in Vancouver in Canada. It's a 3-week course where you learn about aviation security in some detail. And then I came back, and that was as a border police. I wasn't working for AXA. And then what happened, I started a project to reduce crime at the airport. And that project came to the attention of the then chairman / acting CEO, Mr. Mashuda Romano, and it also came to the attention of the then Minister of Transport, Dalla Oma. And it was that led for them to invite me to throw my hat in the ring for this position at AXA. So that was the, and of course I've been in the aviation industry myself, because I also, apart from being a pilot and having my own aircraft, I also had shares in an airline. So I knew a little bit about what goes on, and yeah.
So when you were appointed, what was the role of Kuselane Security? Because then I'm seeing a dual kind of roles now. There is this project that you were implementing, which also had to do with the issues of security or aviation security at OR Tambo.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there is this Kuselane Security,
Yes.
which actually was contracted to do virtually the same as what you actually wanted to do.
No, so airports company chairman was responsible for the security at 10 airports. Some of the airports were national airports and some of them were international airports. And AXA was responsible for managing that process. And in order to carry out that, we needed manpower. So Kuselane Security supplied it plus minus 5,000 heads over the 10 airports. And they had a contract for doing that. And that would include things like perimeter security, mobile patrols around the airport in itself, and that had to be managed by AXA. So each airport had a security manager, and each of those airport security managers reported to me as the group executive for aviation security.
Well, there was this committee or a structure you were serving in, which actually was looking at the security of the airport, in which Jackie Selebi also was serving. And some people there actually were not quite happy with you. And you are saying that in your statement, that Jackie Selebi started a campaign to have you actually have your contract terminated because he suspected you of being a spy. Is that correct?
No, Chairman. The allegations of him suspecting of me of being a spy only came 5 years later when I had the criminal docket going against him for corruption. At the time, Jackie Salebi did not sit on any committee which I was involved in. He went behind the doors, the closed doors, and had the rules changed of the committee, that everybody sitting on the committee should have security clearance. And his motivation for that wasn't because he thought I was a spy. It was because he was friends with Kusalani Security, and I had cancelled their contract, and they still had another 300 million. If the contract had run its term, they would have made another 300 million.
So was it not the case of you retaliating to what you actually allege to have actually been done by Jackie Salebi to get your contract terminated, that you also then initiated investigation against him, which actually came first? Was it you investigating him
Chairman,
first before he then, started this campaign to have you actually your contract terminated?
Chairman, I opened a docket against Jackie Salebi whilst I was still working at AXA because of his involvement in trying to stop the cancellation of the Kusalani security contract. So that docket didn't allege corruption, it alleged unlawful interference. But later on, I found evidence of corruption, and that was included. So I think you could say that when I realized that he was conspiring with somebody to have me removed, it came much later than I had identified the things that he was up to.
General Fivers is regarded as one of the best police leaders that we have had in this country, and this is a point which was also, which you also collaborated.
I didn't say he was one of the best. I said since General Fivers, we didn't have a police commissioner that completed his term and completed his term with integrity and honesty.
What is that? What is the import of that? If you were to unpack that,
The
about
import
General
of it
Fivers.
was I was drawing a line in the sand with the date, which was actually the date would have been December the 31st, 1999, which is the date upon which.
But to me, it implies that General Fivers was the best of the generals that actually came after him. Is that what you actually
No, it's
were
not what I
implying?
said. What I said was, since General Fivers, there had been no police commissioner that had completed his term and done so with integrity.
Okay, that's not my issue. But my issue is what he said about you.
Well, I don't know what he said or what somebody canvassed him to say about me.
Well, many people actually know what he said because they were listening.
Thank you so much, Pangazita.
Oh, thank you.
The last speaker is going to be Honorable Sols. Can we take 1 minute and play that? You said it's 1 minute or 1 second. Can we have it playing?
Being done virtually, and that's it. So those crooks in Parliament that wanted me to get there in person, in Irish we say "pop my horn," and I'm not going to translate that, but I'm not going there. I'm not. Was that it? Am I to respond to that, Chairman? Okay.
There is something that was said
Sorry,
in a
must I-
language through you, Chair. There is something that was said which was not clear in what language it was. Can it be
Irish.
unpacked for us?
It's Irish.
Yeah.
Irlanda.
Can he actually interpret that for us?
Pugmahorn, it's a bit like you have to use an analogy because it's not a direct translation. But the Honourable Malema would be able to understand this analogy. It's like saying kill the Boer. Now, does that mean that everybody must go out and shoot? Or what does it mean? And we've seen what the defense was to kill the Boer, that it's a song and that it goes on, however wrong it may be. Pugmahorn is also an analogy. It means, literally translated, it means kiss my backside. But it's an analogy.
Okay, thank you. I've heard
It's an analogy, Chairman. It's not. It
So-
mustn't. It doesn't mean you must come and do it. It means
When you do the interview on that video,
yeah.
when you make those statements, they show me there. So did you mean to say I must do what you say?
Absolutely not. Unless you've cleaned your teeth first. The reality of the situation is, Chairman, that little excerpt that you've seen there came just before a statement where certain members had publicly stated, I must be brought here in a donkey cart. Now, I can assure you, Chairman, I didn't come here in a donkey cart. I came here in a car.
No,
But
no,
it's
it's fine. I think what we wanted to hear was the interpretation of what is it Pugmahorn?
Pugmahorn.
Okay, Honorable Souls.
Mr. Sullivan,
Yes.
I want to state for the record that I still believe everything you've done in this country is heroic. I still believe it.
Sorry, I didn't catch that. You believe what?
That everything you've done in the country is heroic. I
Thank
still believe it.
Thank you.
And I will not move from that based on evidence. So I still believe you're a hero, but you are a hero with holes. Nobody is perfect. Nobody can say that you only do things right. And I want to use my few minutes to say that I also still believe that because of your race as a white man and because of the system of apartheid that governed our country at the time, you had some benefit because of that, because that's systematic. And that contributed to some of the excess that you have received during that time. You've benefited from apartheid like every other white person has, but you used it to sacrifice and serve the country and fight against crime. I want to conclude with something that I believe in. I want to read something for you out of the Bible to make my point, and then I conclude. Ephesians chapter number 6, verse number 14. It says, put on the full armor of God. But then it comes in verse 14 and says, put on the breastplate of righteousness. The NIV says, in place. The reason why the words in place in the NIV is added is because there's the righteousness of God and then there's self-righteousness. So your breastplate of righteousness can be out of place, exposing your heart. When you come across in public as arrogant, as disrespecting authority, you run the risk of all the good work that you've done, all the righteous works that you've done, you run the risk of that display of arrogance and disrespect for authority. You run the risk of people losing sight of the good work that you've done. And that is the caution. Put your breastplate of righteousness in place so that it doesn't elevate self to make it look like you look down on others. I thank you, Chair.
So much. Do you have any comment you want to make?
Chairman, nobody's, as the member mentioned, nobody's perfect in life. And the times at which I may have appeared to be arrogant, there would be times when perhaps I was arrogant. And that was because, Chairman, when you are fighting evil, you can't turn the other cheek. You have to confront it face on. And it's no good being Mr. Nice Guy when you're fighting evil. And when you've got senior police officers, and it's included in my statement, issuing public statements that I'm going to be arrested for this and that and charged with this and that and that. What must I do? Sit and apologize? I come out fighting. And I come out, and it'll be somewhere in that book, and I can't quote it as well as the member does, but somewhere in that book you come out with a sharp sword and you fight back. And if you sow the wind, so you shall reap the whirlwind. And that's the point I was trying to make to some of these people that attacked me unlawfully. And I don't care about the title of hero or anything like that. I care about trying to achieve what I set out to do, which is to unwrap the corruption, the high levels of corruption in this country. And if we can crack that, we have a great country to live in.
Okay. I must give the senior counsel now.
We're going to run out of time.
2 minutes.
Thank you, Chair. What I'm saying, Chair, we should not be misled here. The interpretation of what we played here is not what the witness is telling us. And the witness must withdraw. He can't call us, this parliament, we are crooks. Yeah. And we must kiss his ass. It cannot be allowed, Chair. You can't just leave him like that. We cannot be undermined by a settler.
Thank you. Honorable James.
Thank you, Chairperson. Now I concur with Honorable Skosana here, because this witness before us always seems to be in people's backsides with all his insults. He even told Moti to get the Vaseline ready, and today you are telling us that we must lick your ass. I think you owes us an apology. And then also just a clarity-seeking question. When you said that Action SA was formed of criminality, I need you to explain what you mean by that.
Okay. Honorable Ngola.
No, thank you, Chair. Chair, I'm also worried about the kind of S that we are instructed to kiss. What kind of S is that? I mean, that actually requires a serious apology. And I see he's laughing. He thinks we're playing. He thinks we're playing here. He's laughing. It's not a joke. What kind of S is that we're instructed to kiss? He must withdraw now and apologize officially.
Mr.
Thank you.
Paul O'Sullivan.
Chairman, everything has to be placed in context. And if one wants to analyze the whole of that interview, you will see, Chairman, that allegations were being made by members of this committee or the parties representing members of this committee. Allegations were being made about my integrity. And it was in response to that I made that comment. And if you take the whole interview and you place it in that context, it's not something that requires an apology. However, in the interest of peace, I withdraw the comment and I apologize most humbly. And I will retract that statement.
Thank you.
Chair.
Honorable Malem.
Mr. Paul O'Sullivan, please, thank you very much for that. And will I advise you to also go to the same platform and retract it from there? Because it was said at the ENCA. Can we agree on that?
Chairman, if I can do it, one thing I've never done is prescribe to the media. But if I can do it, I will
No,
do it. I will
once you
do it.
use a platform to say something, there's no way that platform can deny you to come back and retract
Okay.
it.
Chairman, I didn't use any platform. I got contacted by somebody and they insisted on doing an interview. I didn't phone them and say, listen, I want to say these things.
No, Mr. Paul, we are at the same level. You have withdrawn, you have retracted, you have apologized. I'm asking you to do a simplest thing of going back to the ENCA and say, guys, I said this thing on this platform. Can I be given an opportunity to retract and apologize unreservedly?
Chairman,
if you are genuinely meaning
sorry,
what you are saying.
Now I'm trying to answer and then what somebody else is talking. Chairman, I'm prepared to cut a deal. I'm a negotiator. If the honourable member withdraws and undertakes not to use the statement "kill the Boer" again, I
No, you are out of order.
okay.
You are out of
No,
order.
you have withdrawn without me saying I'm going to withdraw for that. You know there is a judgment. Now you are challenging courts. I'm not going to do that. And you are not in agreement with me. I'm saying to you, you have already done it here.
I'll do what I can, Chairman, to withdraw.
To withdraw that thing at the ENCA.
Thank you.
The
Mr.
problem-
Paul O'Sullivan,
The problem is, Chairman,
it
I will
was
do-
set at the ENCA. Are you going to withdraw it at the
If I
ENCA?
can, I will.
Thank you.
But the problem is,
Bangazi-
Chairman, I just need to
Bangazi-
mention that we're going to run out of time soon.
Bangazit.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. I was going to also suggest that he also withdraws the reference he made on members of parliament being crooks, because
those
he's
crooks-
painting everybody, all
Those
of
crooks-
us,
those
with the
crooks in
same brush.
Parliament. Yeah.
Unless he knows one specific member who is a crook, and then mention that, not just
Well-
a blanket, painting of all members as crooks.
We can be here for another 2 days discussing this, Chairman, because I have
No,
actually...
no. You.
I know
you-
for a fact
you-
that there are some crooks in Parliament.
Yeah, name them, please, Chair. You must name them. You must not go here casting aspersion on us.
You could have said some.
I think I said so.
Yeah.
Tell us
but-
who's the
but
crooks.
No. You have agreed that you are going to withdraw those statements that you made, isn't it?
That's right, Chairman.
Thank you.
If we
Honourable
can
Ngola.
move on, because I'm going to run out of time.
No, Chair, I'm covered on the first aspect of the crooks thingy. And I think put in correct context, the interview was solely about us calling for his testimony. So saying I am not going to go to those crooks in Parliament means it's the committee, whoever it is. So I also support that it must be withdrawn. Lastly, Chair, ENCA is seated there and they are willing to take him at lunch for an interview. There is the guy for ENCA. I have already negotiated with him that they must take Mr. Paul O'Sullivan during lunch. He must apologize in ENCA. Thank you.
Thank you for that arrangement, Honourable Sols.
Mr. Sullivan,
Chairman, I didn't hear, somebody said something?
Yeah, no, the ENCA is there. They are going to grab you by the hand just for 2
They're
minutes.
going to have to jump in my car and travel with me to the airport,
No,
Chairman.
no, it's fine. They are here. They will escort you as you go out.
Mr. Sullivan, when the scripture talks,
Sorry, there you are.
when the scripture talks,
Yes,
it's not asking you to be weak. The violent take it by force.
yes,
But don't ever mistake meekness for weakness.
no.
So what you've just done now, by withdrawing, already it will have the impact on the focus being on your evidence rather than your arrogance. So you're doing the right thing when you withdraw. You are on track by putting your breastplate of righteousness in place.
Thank you.
Okay, Advocate Mkhize. Kevin, you'll be ready. You'll be ready, ENCA. By the door side, I will accompany him. When he speaks, I'll be nodding my head to say this is our agreement. Advocate Mkhize.
Thank you, Chairperson. Mr. O'Sullivan, just for the purposes of completion, following your testimony 2 weeks ago, some of the averments that you made or submissions that you made when you were testifying had no supporting evidence. So I'd like to just start with that aspect, and then we can complete the questions that were still outstanding. If you could just turn to page 5 of the AXA bundle. Yes. That bundle contained in that AXA pack would have been your complete application when you were applying for head of security at AXA. That's correct.
I don't know because I didn't, it's long, it looks like.
Okay.
But the reality, Chairman, is that was 20-something years ago, but it looks like,
Yeah.
it looks like it,
Okay.
yes?
Well, the documents, you will confirm whether they are correct, what I'm going to put to you is correct or not. It's got your personal details. There's no reason why we should read out your ID number. But what I'm quite interested in is at this, in the middle of the page where it says education.
Further
There-
education.
Yes, before you get to further education, it just says education. It says that you were educated at Westminster City Grammar School in London and you did O-levels, which is exactly what you testified. So you've passed O-levels, because you couldn't quite
Correct.
remember whether you'd done
Yes.
both O and A.
Yes.
Correct.
I later did
Okay.
A-levels, but I didn't put it in here, but anyway.
Okay. And then when you furthered your education, it shows that you went to City and East London Technical College, where you got a certificate in electrical installation. In the previous page, it's more elaborated that you started off as an apprentice. That would be at page 4.
Sorry.
So in the beginning of the first paragraph?
Yes,
That's correct.
yes.
So that basically, what is narrated on page 4 in the previous page
Yes.
is just basically listed on the next page
Yes,
at page
yes,
5.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
You then continued to study at Oldham College of Technology. And there you did Technician Education Council of Certificate in Electronics. Okay, that was, and then you proceeded to City of London Polytech, where you enrolled for a BSc in Electrical Engineering. However, that was not completed. So you don't hold a BSc in Electrical Engineering.
I've since completed it, but at that time it wasn't completed.
Okay. But that's what's in your application.
Yeah, but that's 26 years ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But at the time of the, I'm asking these questions based on your employment at AXA. So at the time that you were employed at AXA, those would have been your qualifications.
Correct.
Okay. So you did not study this at Manchester Technikon College,
It's there in Manchester, Oldham College of Technology.
but it's not called Manchester Technikon. It's called
No,
Oldham
it's
College.
in Manchester. I couldn't
Okay.
remember the name.
All
That
right.
was 40 years ago.
Okay. If we can then just proceed. On the next page,
But the qualification is electrical installation.
yes, electrical installation initially, apprenticeship.
Is the
and then-
wiring and the
Yes,
plugs.
exact,
And
apprenticeship.
the switch on and off
Indeed, Chairperson.
under supervision of a technician.
Indeed, Chairperson. But the following year, he then enrolled and did electronics for 1 year. Yes.
Yeah, and I should mention that was a 2-year course. Actually, a 3-year course, I did it in 1 year.
Okay. If we can then move on to the next topic, it's just to show that the evidence is now before us. The next topic relates to your application in 1982.
What
That
page-
is not
what
on
page-
any page
what
before
page is
you.
that?
It's not on any page before you,
sorry.
but it is regarding the letter that Arinze SC read to you, which would have been your application for permanent residency in 1982. And now I'm just going to deal with just two questions
Okay.
on that topic. I haven't asked the question yet. So in that letter, you confirmed that you had applied for permanent residency in 1982 as guided by,
I think it was work permit.
it was a work permit,
Okay.
yes, to come in and
I
work
only
in South
applied for
Africa.
permanent residency in 1989.
You applied to come and live in South Africa and work.
Okay, a
Yes.
work permit,
Yeah.
yeah.
Both live and work.
Yes.
Yes,
But
okay.
that's a work permit. To live and work here, you need a work permit.
Okay. You also testified that in that period you were working for IBM
Overseas. yeah.
overseas in London.
Correct.
Okay. Is there a reason why you didn't consider getting a transfer as an expert into the country, into South Africa, because South Africa also had IBM offices in Sandton?
Chairman, it's ironic because the offices IBM had in Sandton, I later owned those offices, but the reality is back then in 1982, which is 44 years ago, Uncle Frank, as we called him, told me that he wanted me to come and live in South Africa, and he offered me all sorts of activities that would be good for me, and in the belief of it, I thought, okay, you know, that sounds good, let's do it. And that's why I wrote out, he told me what to write, and I wrote out the letter, and I'd completely forgotten about it.
The question, Mr. O'Sullivan, has to do with at the time in 1982. In your letter, you're very specific and you say that you would like to get employment in South Africa. And my question is just really around, you already had employment at IBM in London.
Yes, I was here
And
on
yes,
holiday.
Yes.
And I may well have applied to IBM to transfer. I may well have, you know, as I say, 44 years ago, I can't remember exactly what was going in my mind.
So you say that you may have applied to transfer, but that would have not been successful.
I might
Because-
have done, but I didn't take it any further because I went back to the UK. I was here on holiday. I went back to the UK and I put the idea out of my mind.
Okay. The next topic then that I would like to cover is going back now to your AXA employment. If I can take you to page 1 second. To page 40 of the AXA bundle.
Uh-huh.
Yes. In your testimony, you testified, and you also deal with it in your statement, that the reason that you left AXA was because you did not have security clearance. And former Commissioner Celebi had been an integral part of your contract being terminated. But that letter is marked Annexure D, dated 31 January 2003. The notice of termination of services.
Yes.
Yes. The reason why at paragraph 2, it basically starts and states the reason for why your contract was terminated.
That was 2003, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's very easy to understand. And as I've stated already, what we have here is a file with 90-something pages. But if you look at page 72, and I think page 72 is quite important, because page 72 has a headline, "The Knives Are Out."
Yeah, that is a newspaper article.
Yes, but it's...
But I'm talking about the formal letter of
Yes, but
termination.
this relates to this, you
Okay.
see, because if you read, this is a newspaper article from a guy called Sam Muafi, a journalist, who the CEO invited me in September 2002 to come to her office, and then she presented me with this journalist and said, he wants to interview you, and then she left the office. And what this dealt with was the internal fighting that was going on within AXA at the time. And if you look at page 72, I want to go to the column, the right-hand side, but not the last column, the one before the right-hand side. In fact, the middle column. It starts, Glagla has denied that she breached AXA rules. And this was in connection with a trip that she made to the United Kingdom. On Tuesday, she denied that Kinetic paid for her trip, insisting that it was paid for by the British High Commission. This is very, very relevant.
Mr. O'Sullivan, can I just maybe pause there, because what I wanted to just deal with was the letter of termination. However, I will give you an opportunity.
This is what sits behind that letter
Yes,
of termination.
I'll give you an opportunity, and what I would then maybe propose that we do is that we run this process chronologically.
The problem we're
And
going
it
to have is
starts-
that I need to leave shortly. So.
Yes, I don't think it will be much longer
Okay.
than this, yeah. Perhaps what we can do is we can start at page 53, just for the sake of completion.
53.
Yes, 53. So at page 53, there is an email from the then CEO of AXA addressed to you. This was in January of 2002, which would have been approximately 6 months after you had joined AXA.
And
that-
1 month or 2 months after the CEO had joined
Indeed.
AXA.
I just would like to go to the contents of the letter. It says alleged security, it's unclear what the subject line is. However,
It
what
says
I would like...
alleged security test at JIA.
Yes, what I would like to just deal with is that first paragraph. I have been informed of an unscheduled aircraft incident that took place on 27 January at 11:40. The details of this incident are outlined in the memorandum by those persons that are identified there. And then if you continue, I'm just going to just put this in record, and then I'll afford you an opportunity to respond, because I'm cognizant of time.
Yeah, I'd like to finish.
And then the next page deals with the 2 top airports company officials that are suspended.
Yeah.
And that deals with you and another person who was at the time employed at AXA. Basically, this deals with an allegation that you had an unscheduled aircraft land at OR Tambo from Lanseria, which was known to be your aircraft and flown in by you. That was the misconduct 6 months after you had joined.
Alleged
Yes, I say
misconduct.
alleged.
Yes.
However, it was investigated, and there is a report to that effect.
Yes.
What I just would like to do is not necessarily to deal with the merits of those allegations, because there are reports and it was finalized. What I seek to do is to show that there was already a complaint before your termination, and the first complaint came 6 months after you joined AXA. And then there was a subsequent one, which you set out.
Perhaps what we need to do
Yes.
is address the first complaint.
Okay.
Because then you need to look at page 70. And what page 70 says, and this is the chairman of AXA speaking, that would have been the chairman of the board. And it's dated the 7th of February. And it says, AXA denies suspending 2 of top officials for flying an unscheduled aircraft from Lanseria Airport to Johannesburg International Airport. Mashuda Romano, they've spelt his name wrong, says that the flight was scheduled and no crime was suspected, and says that the suspension relates to an internal matter. And that internal matter is the issue. And
Yes,
that was the Kusalani contract, Celebi's involvement in trying to prevent the cancellation, and the CEO's joining forces with Celebi.
Yeah.
So the rest of the stuff, what you're saying, is peripheral to that.
Okay.
And it's just, you know, it's wrong.
Yeah, Mr. O'Sullivan, that, with all due respect, that's a newspaper article.
Yeah.
I'm just taking you through the AXA official documents at this stage.
Which
and
have
the
been,
reason
which have
why,
been sanitized.
yes, the reason why I'm taking you through these documents is because we're putting in evidence relating to the reason for your termination at AXA, which had been testified that it was due to security, you not having security clearance.
That's what triggered
Yes,
it.
precisely. So I'm just for the sake of
Yeah, yeah.
completion, it's
All
to
right.
put the evidence into the record.
But that's what triggered it. That's what
Yeah.
started the process. In fact, what started the process can be seen by AXA's own record at page 87.
Okay. I would now like to take you to, you then instituted proceedings after you were terminated, after
Yep.
your contract was terminated.
Yep.
You instituted proceedings at the High Court
Correct.
for 20 million rand against AXA and the former CEO.
Actually, it was 17 million rand.
The total is 20. If you go to page 50,
50.
yeah, page 50 of the document,
Let me have a look.
it is 17.4 for special damages, but for general damages, it's about 2.5 million. So
All
the
right.
total of 20
So
million.
It's a long time ago.
Yes,
Yeah.
but that's at page 50.
Okay.
Yeah. So those are your summons that you issued.
Correct.
And they start, the particulars of claims start at page 44. Page 45
Yep.
is a complaint that you have been wrongfully defamed.
Correct.
Paragraph 6.2 deals with publications that specifically defame you,
Correct.
as well as 7.1.
Uh-huh.
Specifically at 7.1, it reads, in a publication of the Mail and Guardian newspaper during November 2001, wherein allegations of and concerning the plaintiff was that the plaintiff had unlawfully acquired computerized voice stress equipment from the United States, and that the plaintiff being investigated for alleged assault. The following paragraph is a letter dated 23 January 2002, the second defendant being the former CEO, to the plaintiff, in which the plaintiff unjustifiably accused of sexual harassment. The following paragraph at 7.3 is an email dated 30 January, these are all your complaints. An email dated 30 January 2002, addressed by the second defendant being the former CEO, CEO at the time, and these are the misconduct allegations specifically against you in relation to your employment at AXA.
Which were published.
That you were accused of participating in an unscheduled aircraft incident on the 27th of January at Johannesburg.
Yes, I can
and
just
then-
stop for 1 second.
Yes, I'm reading just your
Because-
summons.
No, but you just jumped a bit. It says, in an email addressed by the second, Tali Moema and Pitt, in which the second defendant knowingly and without justification made these allegations. So I'm not
Yes.
accepting, yeah,
Yes,
okay.
I'm just, all I'm setting out are the allegations, I've
Okay.
specifically said, allegations that were made.
Which
and
I'm saying
which
were
were also
not-
supported by
Yeah.
formal letters
Yes.
on AXA letterheads. Okay, then the following page is that on 4 February 2002, the defendant informed journalists and caused journalists to be informed about your suspension. And then at paragraph 7.91, which is at page 48, are further misconduct allegations. That there had been the statement referred it was a suggestion that you, Mr. O'Sullivan, had been responsible for a 115 million cargo heist at Johannesburg International Airport in December of 2001, which would have been about 5 months after you had joined as the head of security.
Correct.
And then 7.93 says your complaint was that it was suggested that you were the reason for no action having been taken place against the National Police Commissioner, Jackie Silebi, when he told an airport official that he had a bomb in his bag.
Yeah, so
And then it continues. I'm going to give you a moment, a second. In your summons, which were instituted on the 13th of March 2003, a month and a half after you had your contract had been terminated at AXA, everything that is outlined, all the averments that are outlined in your summons, in your particulars of claim, speak to the various allegations of misconduct,
false allegations. Yeah.
allegations of misconduct, which eventually led to your contract being terminated. And nowhere in your own summons do you deal with Mr. Silebi late Commissioner Silebi being the reason why your contract was terminated. The only allegation you make in relation to Mr. Silebi is about him having allegedly been in possession of a bomb.
Yes, so at the time...
Would you like to comment?
Yes, at the time this summons was issued, we didn't have all the information that later came out, but I'd already opened a docket against Jackie Silebi. Now, my lawyers advised me that I either had to include Jackie Silebi as a respondent or a defendant in the claim, or leave him out. And if I left him out, I shouldn't put any averments in there. So we parked that, but we later amended and went after Jackie Silebi as well. So that all took place.
Okay. Thank you. So do you concede that at the time when you your contract was terminated at AXA, there was no reason for you to believe that Mr. Commissioner Silebi had been the reason why you were terminated, and there's also no reason why you would have thought it was due to not having security clearance?
No, absolutely, I believed it was.
Were you aware of that as at 31 January?
Yes.
Okay.
And I verbalized that, but my lawyers advised me at the time that I shouldn't include it. It should be a separate action against Jackie Silebi, which it later was.
Okay. I would now like to take you to one, well, I've got just two last questions.
The problem is I'm going to miss my flight, and I think we need to wrap now. So I did say I'd be happy to stay till 1, Chairman, and I don't really want to stay any longer. So I think we need to... I've been very cooperative. I've come here. I made it clear that I need to leave at 1. I really do need to leave now, Chairman, because what we're going to do is now I'm going to be saddled with the cost of rearranging my flights and everything. And
No, she's just quickly running through the last part.
okay.
When General Khumalo testified, he, in his statement, which will be made available to you, at paragraph 86, he dealt with characteristics of crime syndicate and the membership and of those crime syndicates. I would like to just start at paragraph 84. He said that, perhaps I'll go straight to 86. At 86, he said, syndicate international reach and dual citizenship. And he said syndicate members may hold basically more than one citizenship in a country, providing for flexibility in movement and evasion from law enforcement, as well as access to international network and resources. He further said that they are usually run their own businesses, they're entrepreneurs or tenderpreneurs, one of the two, in the South African context. We are aware of that you testified that you hold more than one citizenship and you have multiple passports. What should we make of these characteristics in line of the fact that you also have multiple citizenships, you are an entrepreneur, you have managed to, some would say, infiltrate or work with the police force, I mean, having had about 20 years experience within the police. What comment do you have to that in terms of specifically these international crime syndicates?
Well, of course, and I have to leave now when I've answered this question. An international crime syndicate has many, many aspects, not just the availability of multiple passports. In South Africa today, you probably have at least 1 million people who have multiple passports. That doesn't make them all members of a crime syndicate. If General Kamalo wants to tailor evidence to point in that direction, let him also tailor the evidence showing what crimes it is I'm alleged to have committed. Because absolutely I have not been involved in any crime syndicates of any nature whatsoever. And that unfortunately is that, yeah, I have reached a point now, Chairman, where I have to go.
No, Chair, he's not going to leave. He's not going to leave. She's going to ask you questions. He's not going to leave. If he leaves here, he's walking out. He's not going to leave until you release him. He's walking out of Parliament.
Yes.
Chair, he cannot be allowed. He's doing the same thing with Patoy. You can't leave here. We are appearing before us.
Unfortunately, I made it
We don't
clear.
care about your flight.
Thank you.
You're not being released here. You must be arrested. We'll open a case now.
Pardon?
We'll open a case
No.
now. This man must not be allowed to go out of this country.
I did not come here on a summons. I came here of my own free will, and I'm leaving of my own free will.
Mr. O'Sullivan.
The question that I had for him is,
Mr. O'Sullivan.
he wanted, no, Chair, it's
Mr. O'Sullivan.
I told him. It's fine. Chair, it's fine. Chair, I think we've dealt with the question.
He can't leave. Righteousness. Yes.
I was about to say he
We are dealing with criminals. Patoy did this, he's abroad now.
Yeah, he doesn't want to. He also told me to.
Honorable Nompan.
No, Chair, I'm saying heroes don't walk alone. Honorable Sauls forgot to escort his hero. You must escort him to the airport.
Have that microphone switched off.
Sorry, Chair, I have to. You see, when people disregard scripture, I will not do the same. When we look at the evidence, that it is done and the sacrifice is made was heroic, and it's my opinion. I will maintain. But he has holes. He's not perfect, just like all of us here are not. So I maintain, and I will not retract. Thank you.
Were you done, Advocate Mukiwa?
Chair, how do we move from here?
Were you done? Yes. Were you done?
I had not completed the questions, Chair.
Mr. Techano, you have observed what happened here. So will we get an advice on how this matter is taken forward?
Can we consult on that, Chair, and get back to you?
That's exactly what we are saying. Is there anyone who wants to speak on this matter? After Mr. Tejana said they will consult and give us an advice.
No, Chair, I think we support that they must consult. This is something that needs to be taken very serious. The chair, yeah, just walked out of a parliamentary proceedings after he had been served under oath, so it needs to be taken serious, very serious.
Okay. Honorable Malemo.
No, I wanted to say to Honorable Souls, a person can be a hero and just do the smallest thing that undermines everything else he has done, despite many advices that he has been trying to give to him. You can't insist, but it's a discussion we can take up with him outside this. You cannot say repeatedly, this can, undermine the work you are doing. Da, da, da. A person still doesn't listen to what you are saying. You keep on saying it's a hero. A person cannot be a hero for walking out of this type of proceedings without duly being authorized by the chairperson of the proceedings. Such a person is not a hero. He also undermines Honorable Souls. He must accept, Honorable Souls, that he undermines him. He undermines all of us collectively. And we take the input that there will be an advice, and out of that advice, we can have a proper discussions. But this guy has violated the rules of Parliament. And the rules are very clear with this kind of conduct, especially in this precinct. Thanks.
Honorable Souls.
Honorable Chair, we must complete my statement. Hero with holes. Then I addressed him on the breastplate of righteousness being out of place. And that means self-righteousness. That was displayed here. I'm not in defense of Mr. Paul O'Sullivan. And we saw the holes now. I stand with the House. That is disrespectful. And it must be dealt with. But you don't use that and deny what's in front of us, the work that has been done. It was heroic. I maintain, he's a hero with holes. Thank you, Chair.
A disrespectful hero.
Honorable James.
I cringe when I hear that this man is being called a hero here today. He called us criminals. He said we must lick his asses. And he walked out on us. I'm covered by what Honorable Malema said. This man was embroiled with drug cartels. Drug cartels destroying our communities, our families. Strong links proven in his statement. Has lied under oath and said he didn't receive money. And today we hail him as a hero. He is absolutely no hero to me.
No, it's fine. Honorable members, let me do this. I think we heard what Mr. Tejana has said. But I want to...
Chair, I think Mr. Skosana is went to collect our witness.
Yeah.
He's not here.
I want to thank you for... Hello, honorable members. I want to thank you for the manner in which you restrained yourself, because a situation like this one can provoke emotions. It can provoke emotions and you end up conducting yourself in a manner undesirable. But you were able to restrain yourselves. And I want to thank you so much for that. We will get an advice from the Parliamentary Legal Services on how the matter will be taken forward. It is true that our witness has walked out of the proceedings. He denied us an opportunity to thank him for having come here. He denied us an opportunity to conclude the engagements that we have had with him in a ceremonial and cordial way. With that, we are going to call for a break, and then we will come back at 14 hours. The next witness is General Patlane, and the senior counsel and his team have until 16 hours to conclude the presentation of oral evidence with the next witness.
Thank you, Chair. I may well be a lot quicker, depending also on the responses of the witness. Thank you.
Okay. Let's come back at 14 hours, honorable members.
Yes, Chair, I'm told Mrs. Kosana has closed the gate outside.